I wanted to set up the broad picture, so to speak. And the broad picture right now is that so-called Russia is leading a genocidal expansionist war against Ukraine with its goal to completely annihilate and wipe Ukrainian nation from the map, from its historical lands. We already see the territories that are occupied, Ukrainian languages getting prohibited, Ukrainians are being prosecuted for speaking Ukrainian monuments, streets are being turned down, renamed. So if Muscovites succeed, there will be no Ukrainian. There will be no Ukraine. There will be no Ukraine. There will be no Ukrainian nations. Ukrainians would be like Jews scattered around the world, maybe with one-time hope to recreate their country. But this is what is at stake. This is really important to keep that broad perspective in mind. Right now is a genocide happening. And Moscow Empire, as I call it, is it's a fascist or Russian state, and anyone who is supporting that state is becoming a Nazi fascist collaborator who's helping facilitating the genocide. And let's keep in mind that Moscow Mapper, by defending the fake history, he's a collaborator. He's a Nazi collaborator. That's the broad picture. Right now, this is happening. So in a direct sense, he's helping Putin commit the genocide. And yeah, we must not lose this focus. And I wanted to quickly skim through his channel. And we can see that it has started in 2023, so already 1 year after the war. And we see a lots of imperial branding right at the top. We see he portrays Moscow Empire with newly annexed Ukrainian territories. We see that he portrays Ukraine without territories. We see the support for the war. We see the Z, the swastikas, the modern version of swastikas today. We see how he's showing like Ukrainian flag. So we're dealing with real Nazi, with real modern life Nazi right here. Here, another swastika, as we call it. And what's surprising, his channel is mostly about just bunch of songs. There's just one video that just pops out. He decided to do debunking my video, which is weird. Which is a bit weird, but I don't know what to make of it. Oh, here you see he's glorifying the occupier fascist army. By the way, when I say fascist Nazi, I mean Russist.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Russist. It's basically like fascism was in Italy, Nazism was in Germany, and Russism is in Moscow Empire. From the broad picture, I want to narrow down to history. And I think history is science. It has facts that you can prove, and it has theories, just like in science. Like Big Bang is a theory that has so much evidence. There's like a huge consensus between scientists that it actually happened, but it's still a theory. But like observable universe, 45 billion light years in each direction, it's a fact. Same goes for the history. This is not a game to win or lose. And history is also a collection of facts, scientists' observations and stuff. And what truly matters is the truth, how it happened, and not what happened. Like what happened doesn't matter. It matters to know the truth about what happened. So this is the approach to history. Like to me, it makes no difference where Ukraine came out, what Ukraine means, what Rus means, what Rus came out. Matters the truth. So I have no doubts that Moscovia has appropriated the name, that it's not its own. Just like I have no doubts that the earth is round. And I don't believe it on faith. I know it based on plethora of evidence, common sense, logic, and expert opinion. So debating someone like Moscow Mapper is debating someone like Flat Earther. I haven't seen the video, but in advance I already know what to expect, what kind of things to expect. I might be mistaking minor details, but in the broad strokes, I'm yet to see any serious evidence that contradicts that Moscovia has not appropriated the Russian identity. So yeah, debunking that like for your flat earth. Yara, do you have anything to add about history?
You mean like in general?
Well, maybe to this subject, or I'll just move on.
In my opinion, due to the fact that many tyrannic regimes have destroyed many evidence of many historical events, like especially if it happened a millennia ago, or 2 millennia ago, or 3 millennia ago, gives us unfortunately a very unclear history right now. But definitely for the last 100 years, and at least for that, but ideally I would say for 200 or 300 years, we have pretty accurate data, because we already have more evidence. So here, when we can basically find these proofs, as you do, with all those maps of Moscovia and Ukraine, we can see that it's easily debunked. I mean, their history that they were trying to create when they were destroying the parts of Ukrainian history. So yeah, and when you have someone like Moscovian Vatnik in front of you, or basically the same brain as a flat earther, it's really hard to prove something to them. But we actually don't need to do this. We need to prove anything to them. We just need to show to the people who are not Vatniks, because in my opinion, unfortunately, it's pretty impossible to un-Vatnik the Vatnik. So they are not the target. How do we call the target audience here, right? So basically, we're just calling to people who have the critical thinking, and here I think we're pretty good in this. What do you think about this? Am I right?
Yeah, totally. Actually, that was my mistake. When I first started my channel, and actually I have Ukrainian channel as well, I kind of tried to serve kind of broad audience and try to capture Muscovites and be like, hey, look at facts, look at this. But maybe like a month ago, I really realized that they don't actually want to know the truth. They do not want to know the truth. The history is their sacred canon, just like for the fascists, their connection to the First and Second Reich. Like you cannot question it. And so when I give them the truth, they don't take it. They find million ways, just like flat earthers, by the way. They find million ways to ration out of that truth.
Yeah.
So I think of it as a cult, basically. You know how there is Jehovah's Witnesses, there was Charles Manson cult, there is Nazism. It's also like a cult. Believing in that is also like it exhibits the same traits, but we'll not go in there right now. So the rules, pretty much everybody. I don't think we need to go through them and be respectful. That's the main thing. Just be respectful. And let's jump into watching the actual propaganda piece. I haven't seen it. I've just skimmed through, and I mean, just looking at the preview right there, it was apparent to me that nothing good is coming out of this. And if I don't know something, I will make a list and I will address it later. And I also ran through his script and my script through ChatGPT, and I will show that at the end of the stream. If the fundraiser is successful, let's be making more of such. I'm thinking to make it like regular. We'll be watching Moscovian propaganda and getting money, organizing fundraiser to help Ukraine resist Moscow invasion. So that would be awesome. And also, I want to thank this user called Kaiser Dizer. Let's see, right here. This user has inspired me for this stream. right here, he said anything to say about video from Moscow Mapper, and he basically on every. Anyway, yeah,
Video.
he was the one. He was the one who inspired me, and
That's cool.
his profile photo is Franz Schubert, pretty cool composer. But I'm not gonna go into that now. And this is the fundraiser, by the way, guys. The link should be pinned. And how much we're missing? 14,000.
Okay. Yeah. So I should talk about the fundraiser now. So guys, can you update the page? We have a bit more money now there, I guess, but I'm not sure because it's not updating this on this side faster. So let's see. Yeah, a bit more. So we're on 79%, guys. What we're raising funds here for 3 NAFA trucks and 1 Mavic 3T drone. Actually, 1 unit already received the truck because as soon as we raised the needed sum of money, and in this case, it's 19.5 thousand euros. It's a big sum of money, but it's not only for the truck. It's also for the maintenance of the truck, for the additional parts for the truck. You see the camera on the video, the electronic warfare. The camera is the night vision camera, so the soldiers can see where they're heading when they're moving. So electronic warfare devices. There is always a good truck. Usually, I mean, the oldest one will be year like 2011, 2012, and they can provide 2015, 2018 truck. Why I say we? Because we're here collaborating with this fund, Help 99. They are also known like 69 Sniffing Brigade on Twitter and on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel too, guys. So if you don't know about this fundraiser, they already provided, together with us, YouTubers like Ukraine Matters in the chat. Hello, Ukraine Matters. Hello, Georgies. How you doing? Sage and Rick, nice cat. Can't wait for the propaganda movie. Yeah, we definitely need to watch this. So next, I was talking about the fundraiser. Yeah, guys. So the first unit that already received the truck was the 3rd Assault Brigade. We've given it to them on July, and on July handover event. So basically, these NAFA trucks are being brought in packs, in convoys, 20 to 30 of them in one convoy, sometimes less, but yeah, it's usually more than 20. And we handed over the one for the 3rd Assault Brigade. Next one is going to be handed over in the end of this month because we already have enough money for it, to the 7th Battalion of the 65th Brigade. And the 3rd truck, which is still waiting for enough money to be raised for it, is the truck for 118th Brigade. As you can see, 157th separate battalion of territorial defense. These guys, unfortunately, are waiting longer than others, but they also need Mavic 3T drone. This is why they are the last in line. So, guys, there's a big chance that we can actually provide this truck to them too, just like to the 65th Brigade guys. But for that, we will have to close this fundraiser in the next week, approximately. I cannot tell you when the handover is going to be happening because it's usually a secret date due to OPSEC, because it is pretty dangerous and Russians can send a missile during the handover. So we got to be careful with that. But somewhere in about a week or week and a half, we're going to have the handover. And if we close this fundraiser by that time, so meaning raise the remaining 13,500 euros, we will get the one more team, the trucks. So you can see the patches, right? Do you know, Yaroslav, do you know how it works? How people can get the patches? Have you read the page already?
I think if you donate over 100, you will get it, and if if you get over 750, you would receive additional patches.
you will receive 3, and then the original patch from, in addition, up to 3 patches from the unit. Yeah, guys. So what units, when they are coming to get the truck for that handover event that is happening every month, they are sharing some patches and flags with community members. So if you donate big sums of money, like 750, then 2,500, for example, euros, for that sum of money, you can put your signature on the truck. For example, like on this picture, America stands with Ukraine. And you can also put the flag, for 2,500, both phrase there, your text, and the flag of your country on the truck. Sometimes it can be actually any flag you want. It can be the flag of the region, the flag of the nation sometimes. And so it is pretty, a lot of perks there. They're all listed there. So just follow the link and read all the details if you're seeing this for the first time. If not, you know what to do. Please donate, get the patches. I actually have them embroidered already. Yaroslav, I don't think I've been showing them to you embroidered. So check it out. And it looks pretty cool embroidered too. So that's the "May the Borscht be with you" in Ukrainian transliteration. That should be without the T in the end of the word. Then the one that for me is the main patch of this campaign, "In Drones We Trust." By the way, is it mirrored? I wonder. Give me a second.
No, I see fine.
Okay, yeah, it's good. It just mirrored for me, so it's a bit confusing. And the third one is the Patriot patch. I have the whole collection of these weapons. Mostly American, but there's going to be Ukrainian weapons added to this collection. But I was starting that collection in 2023 when we had a big hype around these patches, like Stinger or Javelin and Bradley and so on. It's already 6 of them. Anyway, we're talking about that campaign. So guys, please donate. We will be mentioning this campaign briefly further in the stream, but for now I shut up about this, and I just will say that Ukrainian army really needs your support, and Ukrainian army will receive the trucks that are very important, and they are unfortunately expendables on the front line. This is why we need a lot of them, and they are expensive, so it's not that easy to get many trucks to the guys. So that's it. I'm finally done with this part. Let's go and do the video view. I don't know, watching the video. Let's go watch it.
All right. Yeah, it's good that you pointed that the trucks are expendable. Really, like they're like ammo, come and go. And the trucks that you're collecting, I see there with the anti-drone aid, and they're fully capable for the war, not just like any kind of car. So I appreciate any kind of help. Now, do you guys hear the sound?
Hi everyone. Usually the average Western viewer or listener is
The video sound comes through?
Yes, it comes through. I
very
just
little
listened to it
familiar
and also
in
checked
detail with the history of Eastern Europe, and especially Kievan Rus.
All right,
But
let's
But yeah, tell me when you start, so I also started there, okay?
Yep, I'm starting it now. Let's watch it, guys.
Okay.
Hi everyone.
Together.
Usually the
You're gonna
average
see my
Western
face,
viewer or
live
listener is very little familiar in detail with the history of Eastern Europe, and especially Kievan Rus. But there is nothing strange about this, since the history of any region is often the most interesting and the most carefully studied by those who care about this region, in our case, Russians and Ukrainians. Which is why the vast majority of videos on English language YouTube telling about the exceptional continuity of all the Ukraine from Kievan Rus are created by Ukrainians who are trying to make this point of view mainstream in the West.
So when did Ukraine become part of the Western world? Meet Volodymyr, Prince of Kiev. When Moscow didn't exist yet, he converted to Christianity and decided we needed to join the European Union.
And the videos that we will analyze today
So he tried to say that most of the videos are Ukrainian, although
is no exception. Let's read what the author writes in the description of his
a bit like, it's okay. Should we comment on this now?
I don't know. It's already weird, but let's keep going. And you can see my channel has more subscribers now. That's awesome.
channel.
Yeah.
busting Moscow's myths
Subscribe,
in
guys.
bulk or one at a time, exposing lies about Ukraine. My name's Yaroslav, I'm from Ukraine. Well, that sounds promising. Hello dear viewers, and this video will analyze Yaroslav historical lies, manipulations and cheap propaganda about the history of Russia and Kievan Rus. At the same time, I won't challenge the rights of Ukraine or Belarus to succession from Rus. I'm just going to destroy this pseudo-historical misunderstanding using facts, arguments, logic and of course historical sources.
Facts, logic, historical sources. Alright, it's a challenge is on.
Enjoy watching.
I guess I shouldn't. It's not the challenge though. Yeah, it's incorrect to say. It was the broad picture for me. Is also gotta keep in mind that this is not a game.
From the very beginning, it's worth noting that Yaroslav refers to extremely biased sources of information. This is Hrushevsky, Dashkevich, unexpectedly Karl Marx, and Tim Snyder. Let's
Wait, he calls them biased? He calls those experts biased, like, okay, what? Those are like experts in their fields, except Karl Marx.
figure out who is who.
Ukrainian people became a victim of probably the biggest cultural robbery in human history. Ukraine's most prominent historian, Mikhail Grushevsky, point-blank said, "We are a nation whose name was stolen."
Hrushevsky was a Ukrainian nationalist and chairman of the Central Rada of the Ukrainian People's Republic. In modern Ukraine, he is revered as one of the architects of the Ukrainian nation. It would be foolish to deny that Hrushevsky was extremely biased in his historical assessments, and his goal was to promote only one narrative. Rus is Ukraine. Even at the dawn of his career, Hrushevsky was invited to debate by historian Linichenko, who was born and raised in Kiev. But Mikhail declined this invitation. Later we will see why Hrushevsky's thesis is untenable, since Yaroslav will very often refer to his arguments in this video.
Moscovia stole the name Russia and got us all fooled. Such a bold claim would require some unwavering evidence, which is exactly what I'm going to do in this video. I will present all evidence required that would support my bold claim for you to have no doubts this is so.
Next author quotes the words of Karl Marx, who is not an
You know, I just noticed he made my voice sound like a chipmunk, and the preview also, he picked the freeze frame. And this also right here, when he says, analysis of the funniest propaganda. So, if we read between the lines, all of those things, we see that something got triggered. The guy got triggered from something in my video. Otherwise, he would not be going down to make such steps as to make this video disrespectful towards me. So it's just when he does it, it says more about him, right? Like anyone can have a bad stop frame picture, but
Yeah.
it says about him. He specifically picked that bad frame to make me look bad. He specifically made my voice as a chipmunk voice. So it's like in logic there is this attack called ad hominem. Basically, when he's not attacking facts, he's attacking my persona, and we already see that visual and audio ad hominem, where he tries to make fun or belittle or put me in bad and diminishing light. Now about Hrushevsky, he said he's biased because he was Ukrainian historian. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, give me a second. So, first of all, saying that Ukrainian or those experts, like, for example, oh my God, Timothy Snyder, saying that they are biased is basically, you know, it feels like I'm looking the MAGA propaganda video, all those conspiracy theories videos when they say, you know, all of them are biased and all of them will have their secret agenda. So I already have this feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's also a cult-like thinking. There's an attribute us versus them. So if you're not us, you're them, and it doesn't matter what you say. You're them, you're not us. So you're ultimately biased, and you're speaking like fake news. All right, let's hear what he says about Karl Marx.
An expert in the field of the history of ancient Rus.
And I'll start by teasing you with a quote by Karl Marx, which you probably didn't know he ever said. The origin of Muscovy lies in the bloody degradation of Mongolian slavery, and not in the rude heroism of the Norman epoch. Modern Russia is nothing but a transfigured...
I just gotta say, I love this quote. I don't know much about Karl Marx. I haven't read his manifesto, but the guy saw Moscow Empire before it was mainstream, or it's not even mainstream now.
One of the main ideologies of communism was an avid Russophobe, despised Russia for its conservatism.
Okay, Russophobe. This word, when you hear the word Russophobe, it means one thing. It means a Muscovite, an empiric Russian is trying to justify their atrocities. Oh, I'm doing those bad things because they are the Russophobes. So when you hear the Russophobe, it's always a justification tactic that they created to justify their atrocities. Because also the word Russophobe, as I mentioned in my other video, it doesn't make any sense. Like my great ancestors, they were Russians. So if I'm a Russophobe, it means I am afraid of my ancestors. It makes no sense. I've created a better word for that. Maybe you guys can come up with a better one. I call it Mosconaftia. Naftia means like nausea. And Moscow is obviously Moscow. So sick of Moscow. And then Russophobe, I think the real Russophobe actually, ironically, paradoxically, the real Russophobe is Moscow Mapper. Because if he loves his country, if he loves his Russia, anybody who loves his like so-called Russia today gotta help Ukraine armed forces to liberate it from the authoritarian Nazi regime, just like Soviet Union and America and Great Britain liberated Germany, and Germans are now thankful to the Allies for helping with that. So anybody who really loves the modern day Russia would be helping Ukraine to defeat it, to defeat the regime inside of it that is oppressing its own people. So, and we see that Moscow Mapper is not doing that. He's doing the opposite. He's defending the lies. He's defending the facade that has brought Moscow Empire to where it is today, to fascism. So, in a way, he is the real Russophobe. He's the one who really hurts his country by spreading more lies. This twist in reality, like if we pay attention to the words, to the terms, it's kind of really important. I think Confucius, 2,000 years ago or even more, he said, if we don't name things accordingly, we will not act accordingly, and if we will not act accordingly, we will get to chaos. And right now, the chaos is already here. So yeah, I think with the subject of Russophobe, we have covered. Unless Yaro, do you have more to add about Russophobia?
Yeah, there's like, yeah. I also am reading the chat while you're expressing your opinion about this video. I'm listening to you, but also reading the chat. So Georgie says, I'm a Russophobe. Do I win anything? Georgie is from Latvia. So, you know, these days, actually being a Russophobe is a compliment for the conscious people, conscious free people. And of course, for the slaves, like Russians, Russophobia is a bad word. Indeed, if you understand what Russia really is right now, or Moscovia, as Yaroslav prefers to call it, Moscovian Empire, right? Because I also don't think it's Russia's. This is why a lot of Ukrainians say so-called Russian Federation, you know, because first of all, it's not really a federation, and secondly, it's not really Russia. So we kind of, you know, just gonna thank you for being Russophobic. And actually, you know, an indication of Russian fascism is when they call other people Russophobes. So when you hear someone is saying Russophobic or you're Russophobic, accusing of you or someone else in Russophobia, you gotta know it's Vatnik, it's a Vatnik. So you better either get away from that dude, or you maybe take some sanctions. Okay, I'm done.
So he called Karl Marx, I believe he called Karl Marx as Russophobe, which is which is ironic because Karl Marx was like helped build the ideology in the previous empire that was called Soviet Union. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's already like a little contradiction there.
Terrorism of the Norman epoch. Modern Russia is nothing but a transfigured Muscovy.
One of the main ideologies of communism was an avid Russophobe, despised Russia for its conservatism and based literally his entire vision on Russian history through the writings of the Polish propagandist Dukhinsky, who spread the conspiracy theory that Russians are not Slavs, which is not confirmed by any modern genetic research. Later, Marx himself, despite his own Russophobia, repeatedly recognized Dukhinsky's opinion as erroneous. By the way, Marx hated not only Russians, but almost all Slavs, except Poles, who in his opinion were eternal fighters of the World Revolution, and Marx's friend Engels wrote about Slavs with such hatred and contempt that I'm afraid to quote his statements out loud, because YouTube may confuse them with the thoughts of author of another radical German ideology.
I'll quote a Ukrainian doctor of historical sciences, Yaroslav Dashkevich. Muscovites essentially appropriated the name Rus. This gave it, albeit fake, but still the brilliance of cultural, civilized state with an ancient historical tradition with Byzantine Kiev church metrics.
Dashkevich indeed was a professional historian and researcher, but of the history of the East, not Ukraine. Meanwhile, Dashkevich's book How Muscovy Appropriated Kievan Rus is total bunk from a historical research standpoint. In this book, Dashkevich exposes a fringe theory about the Finno-Ugric origins of Russians, deliberately suppresses and distorts historical facts and
Wait, what did...
historical research standpoint. In this book, Dashkevich exposes a fringe theory about the Finno-Ugric
Fringe theory about Finno-Ugric origins? It's not a fringe theory, it's like a fact that people living on the territory where Moscovia has originated, they were originally Turco-Finnish tribes. Yeah, and originally Turco-Finnish tribes lived there, and then as time went by, Slavic and Tatar assimilated. So Muscovites, they're all like a symbiote of three ethnicities: Turco-Finnish, Slavic, and Tatars. And they, in combination, in a fusion, they have created the Muscovites, the Muscovite ethnos. So
origins.
he's calling something that is a fact a fringe theory.
of Russians, deliberately suppresses and distorts historical facts and documents, as
All right, do we have to read all that he says?
of Russians, deliberately suppresses
It is also a lie of Russian historians that the Suzdan later Moscow princes were independent of the Golden Horde. Baskako was named the first ruler. Such a letter has never existed, Dashkevich's line. Okay, I don't know anything about the letter, but what he's saying is true. Golden Horde used to have a Baskak. It's basically someone who reports to the chief of the Golden Horde, and he has a unit of army with him, and he's sitting in Moscow or whatever, Vladimir back then, to make sure that all the taxes are paid and everybody's obedient. Which, by the way, in Lviv there was never a Baskak. All right, let's keep watching.
distorts historical facts and documents.
Peter I began the massive state falsification of history of his people. He should decree seizure of all written national monuments from the... Yeah. There was no such... Oh, look. There was no such document, he says. I have found that document, actually, for my recent video. I have found this document.
So he claims that the document that you found doesn't exist, right?
Yeah. But I don't remember the exact link right now, but...
just by saying, that document doesn't exist.
Yeah, he said it doesn't
Это
exist,
четвертое,
but,
стёбный сар.
So Moscow Map is not the first guy who debunked my video. There was this other guy, Stefanov, who tried to debunk my video. But so I pretty much know some of their lies that they're spreading. Right here.
всех монастырях.
Right here. This is the document. This is the document.
Пример указ Петра I за 1720 год.
Во всех монастырях
So this is where it says to confiscate in all the churches, all the monasteries, historical books and prints. So they were confiscating all of this, and this is year 1701. So here there was no such document. So right there, Moscow Mapper is lying. And if you find this collection of Moscovian laws, and if you go to the law 3693, you will see the law that Dashkevich is referring to.
As well as
Every foreigner upon entering the civil service took an oath.
making the
When Moscow Principality was founded, Kievan Rus already existed for 300 years. By the time Moscow Principality was founded, Kievan Rus no longer existed. Yeah, so like, why did he mention that? Alexander Nevsky victory is a pathetic lie. Prince Alexander simply could not participate in the.
days.
I don't know much about that.
And restores historical facts
battles,
and documents,
so I cannot confirm it
as
or
well
not.
as making
I don't see how it's relevant to
the dumbest mistake
to actually appropriation.
takes with the days. But the funniest thing is that the author of the video seriously uses this propagandist fiction as an authoritative historical source.
So he called that he called the propagandist fiction based on what? On lies that he presented?
So, for example, he cites as a historical fact an non-existent commission at the time of Catherine II.
Muscovites were really busy rewriting history, as so to destroy evidence that contradicts their narrative and to fabricate new one that legitimizes it. Catherine the Great, who came after Peter, did exactly that. She created Commission for compiling notes on ancient history, mainly Russian.
I am serious, if you search for the name of the commission on Google, there is nothing but articles from biased Ukrainian websites that support the same narrative as the guy who made this video.
So, if you guys, tips from Moscow Mapper. If Google research doesn't show anything, that means whatever you're searching is illegitimate. This is the level. This is the shallow level of his argument. If Google search doesn't show anything, then like it doesn't exist.
Yaroslav, people in the chat are saying that the sound of the video is much louder than our microphones. Can you please reduce it to somewhat 40%?
Yes.
The video loudness. Let's try to fix it and make it easier for the guys to watch. Guys,
And all
thank you
the
for
sites as
addressing
one
this.
refer to
And
the
please
Shkevich's
tag
book.
me if you need to address something, since you see Yaroslav is very busy with presenting you the video. I'm the one reading the chat, so tag me if you want to tell us about some technical difficulties or some of that. Thank you.
I made the volume smaller here. I wonder if that helps.
If it's going to be too quiet, guys, you please say, you please tell us, and we will increase it a bit again. Thank you.
But from the Norman kings of Rus, Rurik, Helgi Ingvar.
The Russian leaders didn't need to rewrite history to prove that Russia doesn't trace its state.
The Russian rulers didn't need to write history because the Russian rulers didn't exist. He's referring to Moscovian rulers.
Statehood back to Mongols. It's already obvious. If you say that Russia traces its statehood not from Rus, but from the Mongol Empire, then by the same logic you should consider Greece.
I don't think it traces from Mongol Empire. I think Muscovy has its own root, its own origin. It doesn't evolve neither from real Russia nor from the Mongol Empire. It's its own thing, its own kind of civilization.
Greece from Mongols.
Let's see.
It's already obvious. If you say that
Yaroslav,
Russia traces
there is also an opinion that you might be pretty far from the microphone. Can you please get it closer if it's possible?
I already got it closer. I hope it helps. Maybe I can just talk louder.
Oh, maybe.
So I'll talk louder.
Much better, I think. Perfect. People are saying that it's better. Good. And yeah, well, David L. I'm sorry. David says, because too much chatter, no news, few opinions, and breaking up this historical video is very annoying. First of all, it's not a historical video. It's a propaganda piece of Moscovia. So we're kind of instead are trying to show you guys. But yeah, that's such a format. Probably we just need to finish this experiment to see what comes of it. Anyway, let's continue. Thank you.
its statehood not from Rus, but from the Mongol Empire, then by the same logic you should consider Greece as a heir of Ottoman Empire and Spain as a successor of the Arab Caliphate. And finally, Tim Snyder.
So yeah, he pulled that logic from the moon. I don't know from where he pulled it, but I don't think I've ever made that statement that Moscovia derives from Mongol. It was born under the vassalage of Mongol, but it's not deriving from there. It has borrowed a lot of traditions from Mongols. Actually, I've recently found out how Mongols were assembling such a huge army. So the way they were doing that, they would like conquer a town, a city, a village, and then they would forcibly pull men from the families to conscript in their army, and they would hold them with strict, like physical torture and abuse for discipline, which is what we see Muscovites are doing today. They have occupied parts of Ukraine, and then they forcibly pull Ukrainian men to fight against Ukraine. And then if they refuse, they would end up being tortured. And this is the same tactic that Mongols used 800 years ago. Muscovites are using today.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Not to mention the despotic way of the rule. Mongols had that. Moscovia has that. And what else? The expansion, the territorial expansions. Mongols were it was like a drug for them to keep expanding. Muscovites as well. For them, expansion is like a drug. They need another dose. They cannot live happily without expansion. I mean, Imperial Russians cannot live happily without expansion.
Empire. Then by the same logic, you should consider Greece as a heir of Ottoman Empire and Spain as a successor of the Arab Caliphate. And finally...
Now, also on that subject, I want to say my other idea. Muscovites have appropriated from the Western civilization, they have appropriated the lying habit. You know how politicians lie before the elections and how... So I think Muscovites, they almost observe, I should say, bad qualities from both civilizations.
Tim Snyder, one of the most important lobbyists of Ukrainians' interest in Europe, who, like the above-mentioned authors, through historical omissions and forgeries, build a simple picture of the world in front of their supporters about the great civilization of Ukraine and choose a fascist Russia.
He's using ad hominem instead of actually saying something what Tim Snyder said that is not true. Like he's attacking Tim Snyder's persona. Let's see. Yes, we already spoke about it, and Tim Snyder he confirms this, that Moscow Empire today is a fascist state. Like if you look at the fascist attributes, Moscow Empire matches them, and this Moscow mapper is, being the fascist himself, he's unaware.
I don't even need to give any examples because Yaroslav himself demonstrates his historical lectures, bordering on the crossroads of very weak propaganda and elementary illiteracy.
They stole the name of the medieval state called Rus, and all the subsequent variations of this name. Russia, Russia, Ruthenia, spell however you want it. These are all exonyms stemming from one root, Rus. Exonym means a foreign name that natives don't use. Germany, for example, is an exonym for Deutschland, and Japan is an exonym for Nihon. Russia is a Greek exonym for Rus. Russia and Ruthenia is a Latin exonym for Rus.
Moscow Rus never existed, by the way. There is never a historical document that has Moscow Rus in it. It's an artificial name. The same, actually, Kievan Rus. Kievan Rus never existed. It's an artificial label given to the real Russia. It was given by Muscovite historians so that they can claim, oh, there was this Novgorodian Rus, and then it became Kievan Rus, and then it became Vladimir Rus, and then it became Moscovian Rus. It's all BS. There was never Moscovian. There was only one real Rus, and it always was located in Kiev. And later, when Kiev was occupied, it continued existing in the Western Ukraine. But yeah, what else he's saying? Yaroslav Muscovy is also an exonym for Moscow. Okay, I don't know what that means.
The theft officially happened in 1721 when Peter the Great renamed the entire state of Moscovia into the Russian Empire. It was not a natural renaming that usually lasts for centuries. It was a deliberate and artificial rebranding. By the will of one person, Muscovites have become Great Russians, Tsar has become an emperor. Listen to a history professor of Yale, Tim Snyder, confirm this rebranding.
The new Russian Empire, as it's called from 1721, by the way, Russian Empire is a conscious rebranding exercise, right? It's called Russia because of Rus.
This is simply not true, because since the 15th century there has been a title of the sovereign of all Russia, which denoted the claims of Moscow princes to all the lands of former Rus. The name Muscovy is the exonym which was used by people outside of Russia itself and mainly in Poland.
So this is a classic, you know how flat earthers have classic go-to tactics to escape real historical facts? So when Muscovites, when they see Moscovia being on like so many maps, so many documents, their classic escape tactic, Moscovia, it's foreigners were calling us that. We never called ourselves that. So this is a escape tactic, and I have a really good obviously, I have collected tons of evidence where they call themselves Moscow State, right? I have tons of evidence. There's just overwhelming amount of evidence that Moscow. Oh, right there, even Tsarstvo Moskovskaya, it was their own Moscovian map maker, Semyon Remezov. He was writing. So it's like, the evidence is overwhelming. I've made another episode about it. From Moscovia denier to fascism is just one step. It's on my channel. You can check it out. I go through each of those evidences. But one evidence that wasn't there in particular that I prepared specifically because I knew I would encounter this argument. This is the encyclopedia. This is the Soviet encyclopedia, 1930. And when we find Moscovian state right here, it reads, this name was for political formation that preceded the formation of old Russian Empire. All other names for the Moscow state include Moscow Tsardom and Muscovite Rus, the lie that we just disassembled. It's sometimes simply called Moscow, while foreigners often refer to it as Muscovy. Even Soviet propaganda 100 years ago, it didn't deny existence of Moscovian state. It clearly point blank says the truth right here. The formation that precedes the old Russian Empire, because it's true. Before there was Russian Empire, before the rebranding, there was Moscovian state. In Moscovian language, it's called Moskovskое государство or Moskovskое царство. And in English, in Latin it's Moscovia. In English, it's Muscovy. So that's that. I hope I addressed that. If there are questions about this Polish or foreign name debacle. And by the way, it was not even Polish people who started calling it Muscovy. So the first mention, at least what I found, of Moscovia is 1475, and it's Germany. And right there on the map, they have Moscovia. So.
Okay, Germans were first. Got it.
At least first from what I was able to find. I can't claim that they were actually the first. Right here.
Yep.
Okay.
But why did these Moscow princes to all the lands of former Rus? The name Muscovy is the exonym which was used by people outside of Russia itself and mainly in Poland.
So we already established that was a lie. He point blank just lied.
But why did this happen? In many ways, the term Muscovy is a product of Polish propaganda.
It's just funny. He says Moscovia is the term of Polish propaganda.
Middle of the 13th century, after the Mongol invasion, the weakened lands of Rus became an easy target for foreign invaders. This moment was taken advantage by the Lithuanian princes, who through conquest, threats, bribery and sometimes on voluntary basis annexed vast lands of Rus to their state.
Wait, he's saying pretty serious accusation. He said bribery?
Bribery and sometimes it was taken advantage by the Lithuanian princes, who through conquest...
Bribery according to, or
conquest,
in connection
threats,
to what?
And bribery. So he's saying Lithuanians I disagree with him here. As far as my knowledge lets me, Lithuanians did us Ruthenians, our ancestors, a favor by liberating our lands from Golden Horde. I mean, yeah, and their state was later called the Great Duchy of Lithuania and Russia. Like, Lithuania was the most friendliest nation. Lithuanians were the most friendliest towards Ruthenians back then. So right here, he's point blank lying. And if he's not lying, what are the evidence that conquest, threats, and bribery? I would label it otherwise. I would say Lithuanians liberated Ruthenians, or what was left of Rus, because Kiev, after it was sacked by Golden Horde, so Kiev was, I believe, was one of the biggest cities in the world in 2040. I think it was like 50,000 population, but after Mongols were done with it, there were only 2,000 people left. So Mongols have massacred like what 96% of people in Kiev. So yeah. Anyway.
Threats.
And Yara, if you wanna pause for your fundraiser, just let me know. I don't know how it's usually done.
Yeah, we can remind people that we're raising funds here for the trucks for Ukrainian army, and the faster we raise the remaining 13,500 euros, the faster. I need to remember to hold my mic further because I checked on the stream; it's much louder. So, and then on my end, so I just need to hold it on this distance. I guess it's best. But you know, I got used to talk like this. But anyway, guys, so the link is pinned at the top of the chat. Please donate, follow the link, read all the details about the fundraiser. It's all there, everything explained, to whom the money go, how do you get it, how you get the reports about this. That's a very important thing, because if we raise funds here on my channel, we always provide the reports. By we, I probably mean only myself. No, actually, when I'm working with Help 99, we do it together. So I'm going there on the handover events and participating in handing over those trucks. So on my channel you will see all the trucks getting to the units, and more than that, you will see the soldiers who are receiving the units, and you will hear their stories. I'm interviewing them there and posting that for you. So please donate. Thank you very much to everyone who already donated, and thank you for the future donations, guys. Yes. Let's continue watching. Thank you.
Bribery and sometimes on voluntary basis by the Lithuanian princes, who through conquest, threats, bribery and sometimes on voluntary basis annexed vast lands of Rus to their state. Thus formed two centers of unification of the Russian lands. The first was located in Lithuania, which was ruled by a foreign pagan dynasty, which later adopted the Catholic faith, began to oppress the local Orthodox population. The second center was located in Moscow, ruled by the prince.
I don't have any facts that it was oppressing the Orthodox population, at least in Lithuania. I know later, when it became Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, then it happened. But when it was Lithuania, I don't have any facts that they were oppressing Orthodox.
Princes of Rurik dynasty.
Yeah, wow. I actually also think, and it sounds like typical Russian propaganda, you know, oppressing the Orthodox people. Oh, yeah. It's what they say right now. So all of this has these patterns. You know, in this video, I see a lot of patterns of typical Russian propaganda. So let's go.
And we do have Lithuanians in the chat watching, so maybe you can correct me, because yeah, that would be nice.
Continued to profess orthodoxy and preserved it as a main religion of the country and the people. Of course, this situation hasn't been without propaganda.
You know, I also want to pause and reflect. It's ironic because the biggest oppressors of Orthodox are actually Muscovites. They have destroyed their independent Orthodox state, and they created this. Peter the First created a church that was subordinate to the Tsar, to the emperor. Yeah, so from that point on, it wasn't even an Orthodox church. It was its own cult.
Russian state began to wage a consistent struggle against Lithuania, and later with the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth as the return of Russian lands under the rule of Rurikis. In this situation, the Poles made every effort to challenge the legitimate rights of the descendants of Vladimir the Great and Yaroslav the Wise to Kiev, Polotsk and Smolensk. It was the Poles who stubbornly tried to impose on the inhabitants of the European countries the narrative of the Asian Muscovites, contrasting them with the Lithuanians, who lived on land subject to the Polish king. Yaroslav wants to impose on the viewers the idea that before Peter I, absolutely all foreigners called Russian Muscovy, but this, of course, not true. The Venetian diplomat Ambrogio Contarini, returning from Persia, wrote, "On September 12, 1476, we finally entered the Russian land, with the blessing of God, as the first object that presented itself to our eyes as the entrance to it was a small village surrounded by a forest. On the 26th, I finally arrived to the city of Moscow, praising and thanking Almighty God, who had saved me from so many troubles and misfortunes. This city belongs to Grand Duke Ivan, the sovereign of Great and White Russia. Russian monarchs and German emperors' diplomatic contracts were
All right, well, this was a lot to unpack, and I feel like his concentration of facts is so big, and there's so many lies that pausing on every fact. So right there, what just happened? He continues to debunk this. He tries to go with this flat Earth kind of argument that only foreigners called Russia Muscovy, and he presents some kind of text.
Of course, not true.
That at the very end, he says,
thinking Almighty and Duke Ivan, the sovereign of Great and White.
So at the very end, he's trying to say, look, there was this one guy who wrote that there was this Duke Ivan, the sovereign of Great and White Russia. And because there was this White Russia in his title, that means some foreigners called our country not as Moscovia, but as Russia. So there are already at least two loopholes, two faulty logic in his argument here. First of all, obviously, White Russia. Today we know White Russia is a completely different state, completely different people, which is already a mismatch. And second of all, he's listing here the title of the Tsar. He's not listing the name of the country. So he's doing the logical mistake. I think he's breaking the law number 1, I believe, of logic. When we have a discussion, we must present arguments that relate to the same area. So if we're talking about the name of the state, you have to be presenting arguments that relate to the name of the state. While I presented arguments for the name of the state, he's presenting arguments for the title. So basically, I'm talking about the name of state, he's talking about the title. And I'll get to the title probably later in the video, but this title, just to jump ahead, this title is self-proclaimed. They proclaim themselves like that. The title is fake. I'll get to the title later. But moving forward, what he wrote here is completely doesn't support his argument.
White Russia.
Actually, the opposite. Let's keep watching.
Russian monarchs and German emperors' diplomatic contracts were commemorated by Hans Borgmeyer's engraving, Alliance with White Russians, which depicts the meeting of Emperor Maximilian with the Russian ambassadors. The German diplomats...
What? Again, White Russians, so they're like, are they claiming to be White Russians now, or like...
The meeting of Emperor Maximilian with the Russian ambassadors. The German diplomat Sigismund von Herberstein, who visited the court of Vasily III, left a brief description of Russia and its capital, Moscovia. From the time of Rurik up to the present ruler, these sovereigns used always the title of Grand Dukes, either Vladimir, Moscow or Novgorod, except Ivan Vasilievich, who called himself the Grand Prince of Moscow and all Russia. The current Vasily Ivanovich has appropriated the name title to himself, Great Sovereign Vasily, Tsar and Lord of all Russia, and Grand Duke of Vladimir, Moscow, Novgorod, Pskov, Smolensk. By the way, Yaroslav likes to refer to Wikipedia in his video.
Okay, actually, Herberstein has a lot of hidden gems about Moscovia. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Yeah.
Novgorod,
but in here, he's also referring to the title. the Lord of all Russia, and you can see that he continues listing all other cities that they control. And by the way, all Russia is a lie. If we look at the time when that ruler was in charge, they didn't even control Kiev. So it's obviously like Muscovites, their tradition of lying, it stems from when they were born as a Golden Horde. So this is approximately 16th century, and this is in yellow the territory of Moscovia. And you can see they didn't even control Kiev, but they were fast to call themselves lords of all Russia, while they didn't control all Russia. Yeah, but let's keep watching.
Smolensk. By the way, Yaroslav likes to refer to Wikipedia in his video. He shows an article about the Moscow Principality. Okay, let's follow the logic of Yaroslav himself. Open this article, go down a little lower, and see what's written in the name section. In spite of feudalism, the collective name of Eastern Slavic land Rus wasn't forgotten, though it then became a cultural and geographical rather than the political term, as there was no single political entity on the territory. Since the 14th century, various Muscovite princes added Avol Rus to their titles. After the title of Russian metropolitans, the Metropolitan of all Rus.
All right, yeah, he mentioned it. The actual title of all Rus had the Metropolitan. Basically, when Russia collapsed, the religion that spread from Kiev was called Russian religion, and people who practiced this Orthodox religion, Greek Orthodox religion, that stemmed from Kiev, they were called Russians, but it was like a confessional name, like I'm a Protestant, like you're a Catholic, and I practice Russian religion, basically. The guy who was in charge of all of those Russians, of all people who practice Russian religion, he was called Metropolitan of all Russians. Like, it makes sense. It's confessionem, it's a religious term. Confessionary, yeah. It's a religious term, like Metropolitan of all Rus. So, it's my personal theory is that after the invasion, I think 50 years after a golden Mongol invasion, the Metropolitan migrated from Kiev to Vladimir and then to Moscow. He kept this title of all Rus. And I think the Moscovian ruler just got jealous. He's like, because before the Moscovian ruler had the title like Duke of Vladimir, Duke of Moscow, Duke of Ryazan, Duke of... but this guy right here, he has this title like Metropolitan of all Russia. And he's like, what the hell? So I think in their desire to seem bigger than they are, he just copied the religious title and became known as Tsar of all Rus.
Guys, I have a quick question, Yaroslav, if you may, put it on pause. So I look into the chat. I see cool questions there. So guys, I will keep the list, the notes of the questions that I will address to Yaroslav, or also answer it myself, but after we finish watching the video, okay? So please tag me also in the beginning of your message if you want me to put that in the list of the questions, and I would really like to discuss them because it's interesting. So yeah, dear moderators, I'm making that list. So yeah, there were questions there in the chat. So thank you everyone, and let's keep watching.
Yeah, I would love your questions, by the way. Yaro, thank you for collecting the list if I missed any. And I see, yeah, the same way they claim to be the Third Rome. And in fact, I think it was Herberstein it was Antonio Passivini. He was telling a story how they were claiming to be the ancestor of the brother of Julius Caesar. So, like, Muscovites have no shame about lying. Not at all. They would claim whatever they want to claim. And now they're claiming to be successor to Russia. But before that, when there was Russian Empire, before Soviet Union, they were claiming they want to unite all Slavs in one country. they would claim they make ideological point, and then they move with tanks or force, right? This is how they operate.
Dmitry Shemaika was the first Muscovite prince who minted coins with the title the Sovereign of all Rus. Although initially both Sovereign and All Rus was supposed to be rather ironic epithets, since Simon III is transformed into the political claim over the territory of all the former Kievan Rus.
He should show the coins that were minted before that, where there was like Arabic scriptures. Yeah.
A goal that the Muscovite prince came closer to by the end of that century, uniting Eastern Rus. Such claims raised much opposition and hostility from its main rival, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, which controlled a large portion of the land of ancient Rus, and hence denied any claims and even the self-name of the eastern neighbor. Under the Polish-Lithuanian influence, the country began to be called Moscovia in Western Europe. The most interesting.
So he just inserted a fart. This shows you like. I'm amazed that the video is like high quality sound, professional sound, but you see the Moscovian culture underlying it. You see.
It began to be called Moscovia.
Actually missed that point. Can you please
right here.
get it back?
Europe. The most interesting, mixed with foreign engravings, Yaroslav shows a small part of the title of the Russian Tsars, in which it's written Tsar of Moscow. I bet Yaroslav would be really pissed off if he found out what the actual full Tsar title sounded like. Let's take an example of how the title of Alexei Mikhailovich, who was the father of Peter, sounded. By the grace of God, we, the great Sovereign Tsar and Grand Duke Alexei Mikhailovich.
Together with the name.
All right, so he's going about the long
Russia,
title of the.
autocrat,
Oh, another one.
autocrat
Live Yaroslav. Look.
Tsar and Grand
He
Duke
tried to
Alexei
predict my
Mikhailovich
reaction.
of all great and small and wide Russia.
I was expecting it to be a really long title because Moscovian Tsars, they had like a really long title.
Just like Khalisi, meaning the.
Yeah. So, what is his argument here? What is he trying to say? He's bringing. So basically, for the last for the last several minutes, he's chewing on this title argument.
Autocrat of Moscow, Kiev, Vladimir, Novgorod.
I'm just waiting till he's going to be
Together
done.
with the name Rus.
So I think he's done with the title. So I've debunked the flat Earth argument that only foreigners have called their Russia as Moscovia, and now I'll debunk the Tsar of all Russia title. His argument follows like this: our Tsars had Russia in the title. That means, therefore, our country, Moscovia, has the right to call Russia. And following that logic, well, actually, there's a lot to unpack here because titles, in our modern world, we don't have titles, and people back then lived differently. But I'll start unpacking it with that logic that if you have a country in your title, therefore you have the right to be calling that. So here, just before this video, I have assembled a little collection with all other rulers that had Russia in their title, like Lithuanian Gedimin. Right here, this was the letter to the Pope. Actually, the first letter that mentions Vilna, Lithuanians. And right here, he writes himself as Gedimin de Gratia, basically, by the grace of God, King of Lithuanians and Ruthenians. Right here you can see Ruthi, and it's in Latin, Ruthenorum Rex. So, therefore, Lithuanians have the right to call their country as Russia, right? That's the argument. But if we look at the Polish kings, Polish rulers, they have like so many. Like for example, Sigismund III Vasa. He goes like here: the most serene and unconquered, Sigismund III, King of Poland, Grand Duke of Lithuania, Russia, Prussia, Mazovia, Mongolia, Livonia, Severia, blah blah blah. Hereditary King of Sweden, the Goths, the Vandals, Grand Duke of Finland, Conqueror of Muscovy, and all the northern regions. That was his title, and as we see, Russia was in his title, and this is his like picture. And you see right here, there is Russia right here. And you can actually even see the coat of arms, Russian coat of arms, real Russian coat of arms. The golden lion on the blue background. This is actually where Ukrainian flag originates from this golden lion on the blue background. This is the painting for the Battle of Grunwald, if you're curious to check it out. So yeah, and as I'm saying, there was so many Polish rulers who had Russia, because the way titles worked back then, if you control a territory, you can add the territory into your title. So obviously, Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, it controlled territory that was Russia. So their rulers had Russia in the title. Again, Vladislav IV, he had Russia. Casimir had Russia. And this is actually the founder of city of Lviv, Leopolis. He was, I think, no, it was his dad. It was his dad who was коронованный, who was knighted, or no, what do you call
crowned?
it? Crowned? Yeah, crowned. The other thing about the titles, got to understand, you could not just start calling yourself out of random what you wanted. Like, any of us, like Yaroslav or me, I could just call myself, I'm the Tsar of all galaxy, of the Milky Way, right? The title was given by a pope or by archbishop. If it was Orthodox, it was Archbishop of Constantinople, or if you are Catholic, the title was granted to you by the Pope, and it was passed on through generation to generation. And the thing about Muscovites, no one gave them the title of all Russia. They just self-proclaimed themselves to be all Russians. It's just, they just decided to call themselves like that at one point, and you see how weak the argument the Moscow mapper is making on that title, because the title, we already established that it's false. It's a lie.
Yeah. Yaroslav, quick question from the chat.
Yes.
From Ren, where can I see this? I can only see the maps. Can you go back to Figma and show people how to navigate between maps and scripts?
Yeah, so I have two Figma projects. The first one is the maps, and it's available for free. The link should be under pretty much any of my videos. And the second one is the collection of the historical documents that my Patreon supporters have access to. And it has the collection of Moscovian state in Cyrillic. It has the collection of Moscovia in Latin, everything organized. It has actually my recent video debunking the myth of one people, Ukrainians, Ruthenians. It has the collections of witness testimonies from Moscovian Ruthenians. By the way, since we're here, I want to read you something really quick. So this was a British man traveling in Moscow Empire in 1815, Edward Daniel Clark, and he wrote his impression about what he saw. And here he says, the Cossacks, he is implying Ukrainians. In conversation, the Cossack is a gentleman. He's well informed, free from prejudice, open, sincere, and upright. Place him by the side of a Russian. What a contrast! The one is literally a two-legged pig, having all the brutality but knavery than the animal, the other rational, accomplished, and valuable member of society. It's right here.
Yaroslav, so there's definitely a problem with my microphone, and there's a suggestion, meaning it's too loud. So when I'm holding it like this, this might still be too loud. So you can actually go to.
I decreased it by 5 decibels.
Maybe decrease it even more.
Okay, let me decrease it by 11 decibels.
Thank you. What I wonder if it won't also decrease the video, or do you like see it as a separate sound source there? Just my microphone?
Yes, I see it as a sound source, and I just decreased it by 11 decibels. Let us know how it sounds.
Okay, so I hope it won't affect the video, because that's how it might be on my end, but on your end it can be different. So yeah, I actually see Arnold G says perfect. So yeah, that should be better now. Guys, if you have yeah, if you see any other problems, let us know. So, guys, what the answer to your question is, please become the subscriber on Savage Sages Yaroslav's Patreon, and you can get the access to this Figma second one with all the scripts, the documents, proofs that are being presented here and in his videos. It's a pretty cool material and pretty cool database, and really hope it grows into even a bigger project, and someday you, Yaroslav, will have a whole team of historians working on this one, and filling it with many more documents, searching those documents in the libraries around the world. So I really wish your project to grow in size and in value, historical value. And in my opinion, this thing already has a huge historical value right now. But of course, it can grow in value, and for that, it needs to grow with documents, be filled with documents. So all of this is totally possible. So guys, by subscribing to his Patreon, you have the chance to bring that future closer to us. So do it, please. Please support Savage Sage on Patreon.
Yeah, thank you. And I update this pretty much. I keep updating this. This is new, and the title is new. So as I was saying, so Moscow Mapper is building his argument on the title of their Tsars. But the title, as we have established, it was a lie. They did not control all Rus to be called all Rus, right? The title was self-proclaimed, meaning no one, like they just imagined it themselves, probably copied from the archbishop. What else? And of course the title is while they at some point they did control parts of the territory that was Russia, and they are located on the territories that were colonies of Russia, right? So they were partially there, partially controlling. So it technically gives them some rights to have Russia in the title, just like it gave rights to the Polish and Lithuanian rulers to have Russia. But I think originally when they took it, they didn't even control the Rus. So their title is, it's, how do you call it? Просто претензионный, empty basis. It had no basis underneath it. They just imagined it. All right. So maybe we're done with the title here, and I'm not done with the title. This was the founder of Lviv. He was the son of who had the title of Prince of Russia, real Russia. Then we see Russia on tons of Polish seals.
By Russia, you mean Ruthenia?
Rus, yeah.
Or
yeah. When I say Russia, I mean Rus, the real Russia.
Okay. First Kievan Rus, and then Ruthenia, because when Kievan Rus ceased to exist, there was Ruthenia for some period, you told me.
Yes.
Right?
When I call Kievan Rus, I call it real Russia. And I call Ruthenia Kingdom of Russia, Kingdom of Russia.
Okay.
Right. But ultimately, Ruthenia, it's just the same word. There's much confusion with these labels. But I try to say real Russia, and I try to say so-called Russia, the difference. And the thing is, if you take the original name Rus, and if you translate it into the Latin, you would get the name, you would get Russia, which in English pronounced as Russia. So, so that's that.
Okay, thank you.
So we see Polish seals. They have right here Polish coin that has Rus in it. Polish seals, another Polish. This is a king's seal. Right here it says Rus. So his argument, our Tsars had Rus in their title, therefore we have the right to be called as Russia, is fake. And right here, just two interesting examples. After conquering the Eastern Roman Empire, aka Byzantia, the Sultan Mehmed, he called himself Emperor of Ottoman and of Byzantium. So basically, an invader, imposter, came to those lands and took the title. Similar thing happened with Muscovites. They came, they took the title. And another fun fact, Elizabeth, Queen of England, she had friends in Ireland and in her title. So does that mean because English Queen had friends in their title, does it mean that English can now call their country as French? Like, this is the level of their argumentation.
Okay.
All right. So with the title argument behind us, let's keep watching.
Appropriated the history of Rus, its culture, its prestige, as Rus was once a great empire on par with Byzantium, while Muscovy didn't even exist.
What's going on here? Oh, all right. So he's doing the old. He's sticking to another flat Earth argument. Old Ladoga, Great Novgorod. See about Great Novgorod right there. Archaeologically, it's just like when I'm dealing with the flat Earth kind of argument. Novgorod literally means new city. Novgorod, new city, which was created by Kievan rulers as an outpost to collect taxes and to control the territories. So Novgorod could not precede Kiev. It was after, and archaeological evidence suggests that it appeared only in 10th century, in the 930, year 930. So it was after Kiev. Great Novgorod could have not been any kind of capital of any kind of Novgorodian Russia. It's a lie. It's a myth, especially Old Ladoga. Old Ladoga is basically it's like a village with like 5 huts. Yeah, and the only source they're basing off is old primary chronicles, which were written 400 years after the events. So they're talking about events of 8th century while they were written in the 12th century. And like the same goes with Rurik, by the way. It's the only source that claims about Rurik that he existed, but yeah.
I have a question. So, is it his picture that we see on the screen right now? Did he draw all of these?
No, I think it's some kind of meme in Moscovian. Moscovian, yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, now I get it since we have Kermit's there. Okay.
I basically showed
Oh,
him.
no.
A great empire.
I basically
Perfect.
showed him the meme that U.S. embassy posted when Kiev was already like prosperous and one of the biggest cities in the world. Moscow still didn't exist.
Yeah.
And he tries to kind of like be he's like bruh. But this is all right, let's keep going.
If we look at Moscovia's origin, we see that it was born as a vassal to the Golden Horde.
It's not very clear what the meaning of the reproach that the author makes against Moscow. At the end of the 15th century, all the other principalities also recognized the power of the Golden Horde over themselves, because they had no other choice. But it was the Moscow princes who most often demonstrated disobedience to the Huns. The founder of Moscow Principality...
Disobedience to the Huns? They were obedient as puppies. Ivan Kalita, the first one who got Moscow prosperous. Kalita means the wallet. So you know how there were buskaks, the rulers, the Mongolian rulers, to collect the taxes? Moscovian ruler were like, I will collect taxes for you, don't worry. He was, and so goes for Nevsky, but it's another story. But they were obedient, and we see this obedience today, actually, how Putin how Moscow Empire became a vassal to the China, how their fate is being decided in Beijing now. And in my video, I also mentioned this fact, how Putin, in his recent speech, he was like, oh, we are fighting the West, they're trying to rob our language, our culture, but back then the Golden Horde preserved our culture, and he tries to glorify this vassalage. So right here, he's point blank lying about
who most often demonstrated disobedience to the Hun.
disobedience. They demonstrated obedience. They in fact, they bent the knee when the Golden Horde came. In fact, when Golden Horde came to Kiev was fighting. But they didn't fight, or at least no. There were some battles in Vladimir, but overall, they just bent the knee and surrendered voluntarily. So the audio. Can we fact check the audio now?
Yeah, I think it sounds good.
Sounds good.
Me and you are in balance now. I was
Okay.
checking the chat, asking people there. They said it sounds great. So let's
Okay.
keep going.
The founder of Moscow Principality, Daniel I, being the youngest son of Alexander Nevsky, and occupying not the highest place as a princely hierarchy, behaved very boldly and decisively. In the autumn of 1300, Daniel defeated the army of Prince Constantine of Ryazan and the Horde detachment accompanying this army. Daniel's eldest son Yuri in 1321, having beaten out tribute from the sons of Mikhail Tversky, didn't transfer it to the Horde ambassador, but instead left for Novgorod, apparently planning to dispose of the money received in his own interests. At the same
I have no idea what he's saying here. The other thing that Muscovites are trying to do, they're trying to appropriate Nevsky. They're trying to appropriate Novgorod Republic as part of their history. And while they kind of have the right to it because they now completely control what was Novgorod Republic, they have captured, assimilated the people. But back then, they were completely different. Back then, Moscow... Moscow, Duchy of Muscovy and the Novgorod Republic, they were completely different entities and they were fighting each other. And right now, this Moscow mapper, he talks about Nevsky as if he and Moscow had something in common, but they were completely independent and not like probably they had like the same religion, and maybe they were old colonies of Rus. That was about everything that was in common with them.
time, Rus was in vassalage dependence on the Horde, and such an act was quite brave. After the murder of Yuri by Dmitry Mikhailovich in the Horde, Ivan Kalita came to power in Moscow, who, unlike his predecessors, really demonstrated full loyalty to the Horde. But did he have any other choice? Kalita's reign fell at a time when Uzbek Khan consolidated his power in the Horde. Obviously, it was possible to try to weaken the dependence of the Horde only by waiting for the Horde to weaken, as this was later used by Dmitry Donskoy, who, having gathered troops from all Russia principalities, inflicted a serious defeat on the Horde from Rus, which led to a huge patriotic and religious upsurge in the territory of all Russian principalities. Donskoy was greeted from the battlefield as a national hero. The final liberation from the Horde occurred in 1480, by standing on the Ugra River. 8 years before that...
So you hear how he said there was a battle, and now he said the standing on the Ugra River. The way Moscovia liberated itself from Golden Horde, it's basically waited it out until Golden Horde would collapse themselves. And then when Golden Horde was so weak, Moscovians have decided to liberate themselves, and they came to one bank of the river. The Golden Horde came to the other bank of the river. They looked at each other and then just went home. That was it. Because Golden Horde had no strength to fight, and Muscovites didn't want to fight. So there was no battle. There was what he said later correctly, standing on the river. That was it. And you see the paintings that he portrays. Oh, the Donskoy. Oh, he's leading our troops to liberation. He should show the coins that this guy was minting with Arabic scriptures on
the
it.
national hero. The final liberation from the Horde occurred in 1480 by standing on the Ugra River.
So Muscovites got liberation from the Horde at 1480, but real Russia got liberation in 1320 by Lithuanians. So Muscovites have spent extra 100-something years in the Golden Horde vassalage. And then they became vassals of Crimean Hanat. They kept paying tribute until year 1700.
8 years before that, in 1472, Ivan III finally curtailed the payment of tribute to the Great Horde.
And paid tribute to them until the very 1700s. So just some 300-ish years ago, there was no Russia. There was Moscovia paying its last tribute to the Crimean Khanate.
This small passage requires a lot of detailed analysis. Yaroslav says that Russia paid tribute to the Crimean Khanate up to the 17th century without specifying any details. In fact, the payment of tribute by Moscow to the Horde ended back in 1472 under Ivan III. So what does Yaroslav mean? He means the so-called paminki. These were relatively regular payments of gifts, which the Crimean Khans for their part perceived as a continuation of the payment of tribute. Not only Russian monarchs paid for the paminki, but also Lithuanian princes and Polish kings. In the case of relations between Crimea and Moscow, the paminki was first mentioned in 1474, when the union of Ivan III and Mongolia was concluded.
So he goes into real depth of what they were paying, and I don't see how this serves the argument, but let's keep quiet.
The Russian side ensures that information about the paid paminki wasn't included in the contract itself. At the same time, Lithuanian Prince Casimir IV also pays the paminki to the Crimean Khan. Later, the Moscow princes and tsars successfully avoided the legal formalization for obligations to pay paminki in contracts with the Crimean Khans. Because of this, the size of paminki was uncertain, changing over time, as the payment could stop for quite significant periods of time, especially during the Russian-Crimean conflicts. But in case of Lithuania and Poland, the situation with the paminki...
Yes, Muscovites have stopped paying at one point, and then Crimean Tatars, or Kirimli, they have sacked Moscow and burned it, so that they would pay it again, like he said, in the conflict.
It was even worse. Prince of Lithuania and King of Poland Sigismund III, in 1530, pledged to pay the paminki to Mongolia. That is, the payments of paminki from Lithuania and Poland were of a formal nature, which the...
So this sounds like a whataboutism tactic. So, yes, we did pay but what about those guys? They also paid the
Crimean
whatever
Tatars couldn't achieve from the Moscow for a long time. The official legal registration of the paminki by Moscow took place during the Troubles, when Russia's very existence was under the threat and Moscow had to make concessions to Crimea in order to secure its southern borders. Finally, the paminki ceased to be paid by the Russian Tsardom and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth at the same time after the signing of eternal peace between these two countries in 1686.
By the way, it's ironic. They called that peace eternal, and then I don't exactly remember how many years passed, but Muscovites have betrayed this treaty in like 10 or 20 years.
He probably says some lies. He will say some lies about that it's Ukrainians who broke that, right?
I don't think he will go about how they broke it. I don't think he's going to go in that video, but just wanted to point out that the treaty with Muscovites isn't worth the paper it's written on. Like, this paper is so beautiful. It has like little gold covering on it, but it was this treaty. This treaty has betrayed Ukrainian treaty. You remember Pereyaslavska Rada, where Ukrainian Cossacks and Muscovites went into alliance?
So this one followed that one. Okay,
so 20 years later, this treaty has betrayed the treaty they made with Ukrainian Cossacks, and this treaty has split Ukraine. Right bank went to Polish Commonwealth, Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and the left bank went to Moscovia. So just like that, they made a treaty with Ukrainians, and then they broke it with Polish. And the Muscovites, this is their tactic. It's their tactic. It's just, you can see it throughout history, on and on and on. They will, I can go on about it for a while, but but even this treaty they later betrayed. With Polish people, they betrayed it. And Polish people, ask any Polish about this treaty with Muscovites.
In 1686. The paminki was a form of economic, but most importantly not political dependence on the Crimean Khanate. For example, at the beginning of the 19th century,
another
the
whataboutism
United
tactic.
States was in the
Like, what does the United States has to do with
independence, paying tribute to the Barbary pirates, and the US paying this tribute until the defeat of the pirates in 1815.
Moscovia denies Ukraine exists. In its imperial self-destroying hatred, they are doubling down on Ukrainians, destroying our memorials, canceling our language, burning our books, destroying our memorials, Canceling
I'm waiting
our
till it's finished.
language, burning our books.
Symbol
So he's trying to portray me as someone who has like double standards. It's like when on the occupied Ukrainian territories, they're tearing down monuments to like Holodomor, to Ukrainian heroes. So, and Ukrainians are tearing down monuments to dictator like Lenin, who actually responsible for murdering millions of people, including his own people. Ukrainians are tearing down monuments to propaganda pieces and to
Yeah.
people who are responsible of hurting Ukrainian nation. If you look at
To the enslavers, to genocide
to the
committers.
enslavers.
And-
So Ukrainians didn't come to Moscow and started like toppling down their monuments. Moscow came to our land and started toppling down our monuments. So it's like he's trying to show me as someone who has double standards, but he's manipulating here hardcore because he's pulling out of the contexts. Yeah, there are monuments that are falling, but what are those monuments and who is toppling them? And again, you can see how he's trying to belittle me, or how do you call it, put me down by stretching my voice.
Canceling our language, burning our books.
symbols and name I wish Yaroslav
This is really actually really important. You see how I presented a real actually that video was not about the cultural destruction that Muscovites, cultural genocide that they're leading, but they're committing cultural genocide, and watch how Moscow Mapper completely dismisses it and manipulates on it, flipping it around using manipulation tactic by pulling out of the context of what's actually going on. So right there, he facilitates the genocide by doing this manipulation that he did just now.
doesn't
Yeah.
pronounce
Yeah.
used not only in the heraldry of Ukraine. The same symbolism is depicted on the flag and coat of arms of Staraya Ladoga.
This is hilarious because this was designed in like 2007, and he's presenting it as a real evidence.
The city where Rurik's
What
squad
year once
arrived
again?
This was like designed in 2000s,
on the
2007, I
flag and
believe.
coat of arms of Staraya Ladoga.
So
The
here,
same symbolism
Oh
is
my God.
depicted only in the heraldry of Ukraine.
so he's
This-
talking about the trident, Trizub, and he says
Same symbolism is depicted on the flag and coat of arms of Staraya Ladoga.
that the trident is depicted on that Stara Ladoga that never was a capital of anything, and that flag that he showed was designed in 2010s. It's like it's like right there is a complete manipulation, a lie. Yeah, flat earth lie. It's like, let me design something right now and then claim that it existed before.
Arms of Staraya Ladoga.
Yeah, a dirty move.
Very
Just,
dirty move. And the trident, yeah, I can go on about trident for more, but I don't see the point.
The city where Rurik's squad arrived after the Novgorodians invited the Varangians to Rus.
The same symbol is used in Russian politics. For example, the emblem of National Alliance of Russian. Well, I've never heard of that. Actually, I wonder if I can do like this. Gonna ask ChatGPT.
Manipulation at work.
Yeah, it is a deviant art. They just designed this bird peeking down so that they can claim that the Ukrainian trident doesn't have as much significance. Okay, yes, but the way he presented, let's the truth. A line of Russian soldiers was a Russian 19 Belgrade. What? They did indeed modify trident. Okay, so in Belgrade they used the trident. Okay.
In Serbia, right?
In Serbia, yeah. Simple like Russia, future liberation from communism. Okay, yeah. So some Serbian football team, some Russians in Serbia use that, but how is it symbol that used in Russian politics? Applying equivalence between Ukraine's Southern Europe. Right. Yeah, so he's trying to dilute Ukrainian trident. Okay. But so this is okay. Let's just keep going.
But I think it's obvious to everyone that for most, the symbol in this interpretation is associated with the Ukrainian state and not with the old Russian dynasty. So these claims from Yaroslav look very strange.
When the Mongol invasion destroyed
What claims look very strange? Whatever.
Rus and burned Kiev in 1240, western part of Rus persevered, and on Wikipedia, this western part of Rus is called Kingdom of Galicia-Volhynia.
No, Mongolia didn't destroy Rus. At this moment, Yaroslav specifically replaces the concepts. Mongols have left an indelible mark on the Russian principalities in the form of population decline and destroyed cities. But at the same time, the Russian principalities existed before the Mongol invasion and continued to exist after. They just fell into vassalage. The Galician Volhynian Principality fell into exactly the same vassalage from the Mongols, and in 1259 the Galician Volhynian army, together with a horde, took a campaign against Poland and Lithuania.
So, when Mongols have massacred 96% of Kiev population, or around that, of Kiev,
Galicia also was plundered and burned during the Mongol invasion, just like the rest of the cities of Rus. Therefore, it's absolutely unclear what the author means when he speaks of the Galician Volhynian Principality as the last stronghold of Rus, which the Mongols couldn't destroy.
Yeah, the political life, cultural life migrated from Kiev to the Kingdom of Rus, Kingdom of Russia, and lasted for like another 100 years.
I think I came up with a good analogy to illustrate the situation around the stolen name. There was a province of Britain within the Roman Empire, where Londinium arose. The same way there was province of Vladimir Suzdal within Rus, where Moscovia arose. Both of those provinces were conquered and were paying tributes to their capital, one to Rome, another one to Kiev. Needless to say, both of them had completely different ethnic people living there.
Yaroslav lies in the most brazen way, realizing that his audience will not fact-check the information. The lands of the future Vladimir had nothing in common with... I don't understand his argument. He's saying the lands of future Vladimir had nothing in common with Finno-Ugric, but the Vladimir Suzdal Principality was located and was populated by Finno-Ugric tribes. So, like, this is an absurd text right here.
If
I don't follow his logic here. So the same ethnically Slavic population lived on this land as Kiev, but what is his source to claim that? He's pulling it out of his propaganda book.
Yeah, exactly. So no proofs. When you're making your videos, you're providing proofs, and this guy is just claiming some stuff without any.
We know we know from the Russian primal chronicles that Turco-Finnish tribes lived there on the territory called Zalicia, Vladimir Suzdal, what it's called. We know from the archaeologists who have uncovered lots of burial sites that they haven't found any Slavic burials until certain century. We know from the names of the rivers, of towns, of cities, like even Moscow, it's not a Slavic name. Moscow, it's believed to be like muddy water, something like that. It's so there's just and I've listed only 3 like arguments disproving this, but there are tons, and yeah, he's just pulling this out of like, you know, it's easy to lie because when you lie you can just say whatever you want, but when you say truth you gotta have some facts. So when he lies point blank, like so openly, when he just pulls out a 2007 design and claims it is a design of a 1,000-year-old history, like what am I supposed to, like, it's sometimes really hard to rebuttal the lies because they're so obnoxious.
An analogy to portray the
Yaroslav,
versus
I need to step out for a minute, do the bathroom break and refill my bottle, but I'm gonna keep listening to the video so you can keep showing it and commenting on it. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. But before I go, I wanted to remind you guys about the fundraiser that me and my community have together with Help 99, 69 Sniffer Brigade. We raised funds for 3 trucks, and 2 trucks are already secured. But to be honest, this campaign is going longer than most of them before this. And you have the chance to get the 3 awesome patches for your donations. All the details are following the link. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. If you're watching from the phone, it's the bottom of the chat. From the PC, it's the top of the chat. Please follow the link and donate, because during the stream, we got only 1 or 2 donations, and maybe 3. I'm not sure though. Yeah, 3. Someone donated 20 more euros. Thank you for that. But guys, we still have to raise 13,500. So please donate and please support this fundraiser, because the Ukrainian army needs your support. The Russian army is much bigger and has very, big amount of resources to just be a very, very hard enemy to defeat. So please help our defenders who defend the whole Europe, not just Ukraine. When I say just, wow, I don't mean that Ukraine is like small or something. For us, it's the most important, our land, but meaning that it's more than Ukraine. The whole Europe's future is at stake, and you have the chance to support it. Thank you, everyone who donated already. Please follow the link and donate. And let's keep watching this video. Thank you, Yaroslav.
It's the war for the international law. Will it prevail or will it fail? Right now, it's a war for nuclear proliferation. Will the nuclear state get away with invading and capturing and annexing another non-nuclear state? If it will, it opens a dangerous precedent. Will nuclear blackmail work or not? And of course, will the Western world just wait and see how the genocide is happening, or will it actually try to do something about it? Because the stakes are global. I have a video about that, 3 history lessons we're failing to learn.
That's cool. I'm gonna watch that one.
So let's keep watching. We still have 15 minutes left.
Principality as a periphery and outskirts of Kievan Rus. Actually, that's not true at all. After the start of fragmentation in ancient Rus, 9 Russian lands were assigned to separate branches of the Rurik dynasty. As the throne in Novgorod and Kiev became common and different princes could claim, that's why northeastern Rus, represented by Vladimir Suzdal, and later...
Right there on his own map, he's showing Turco-Finnish tribes.
This could claim, that's why...
Mari people, Udmurt people, Mordvins, Murums, those were all Turco-Finnish tribes living on those lands.
Represented by Vladimir Suzdal, and later the Moscow.
By the way, unfortunately, their population today is dwindling. There are like thousands or hundreds of them left. They are slowly being imperialized and turned, basically like any other nationality.
Moscow Principality had exactly the same legitimate rights to unify Russian lands and succeed Kievan Rus as a...
When you hear unify Russian lands, that's always a lie. Unification implies some kind of agreement. Me and you come together, like Polish and Lithuania, they unified into a commonwealth. But Moscow never unified anyone. It conquered. And most of its conquers were bloody and despicable and massacre involved. So no unification ever happened, at least with Moscow.
The southwestern Rus, represented by Galician Woolen Principality. In addition, one of the main arguments in favor of the succession of Moscow from Kievan Rus is spiritual heredity. In 1299, Metropolitan Maxim moved his cathedra or department from Kiev to Vladimir. It was an incredibly important event that increased the already high authority of the Vladimir Suzerland, primarily for all Eastern Slavs, because the religious identity in the Middle Ages was much stronger than the national identity. And in 1325, Metropolitan Peter of Vladimir moved his department to Moscow.
Right, his argument goes like this. Because the main guy, the archbishop of religion, has moved from Kiev to Moscow, that means they have the right to claim themselves as Russians. But following that logic, if the Pope has moved from Rome to Lyon, at one point in history, the Pope has moved to, I think, Lyon in France or somewhere. So that means that French people can now call themselves Roman Italians. Just because this one guy has moved, it doesn't entail that people living on those lands became culturally, politically, civilizationally the same. People stayed different. And gotta also look into how he moved. Though it's not everything as apparent. I cannot say more about it now because I don't know much. Oh. So I guess he's turning on going to his music heritage.
If we are to draw analogies, the Northern Rus is Prussia or Sardinia, which united a fragmented state under the rule of a single center.
Yeah, exactly. United, not conquered and massacred.
Meanwhile, 1,000 kilometers from Kingdom of Rus, there is a country that's undeniably called Moscovia, that is minting coins with Arabic script on them.
Yaroslav, let's play a game. Look, this is another coin.
Alright, he's offering me a game. Let's do it.
With a disgusting Arabic script. Now try to guess what prince it belongs to. Maybe Asian Muscovites, isn't it? Oh, how is that?
I've never seen that coin.
If anyone does...
What is that coin? Let's check it out. The way he played it, like it sounded like he's so sure. It's like medieval Kievan Rus coin. Mm-hmm. 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 This is really interesting. I want to fact check more about this coin. I'm going to write it down and I'll make a post about it. I want to research this definitely better. It appears like someone scribbled the not a trident now, but Volodymyr on it. So gotta find out more about it. This is the first time I see it.
As know, this coin is one of the first East Slavic princes, Sviatoslav Igorevich. Hey Yaroslav, when will the new video about the Asian and non-Slavic essence of Kievan Rus be released?
That is minting coins with Arabic.
About the Asian and non-Slavic essence of Kievan Rus be released.
That is minting coins with Arabic script on them, and that Tsars wear hats with Koran scriptures.
Another bullshit from Yaroslav. This helmet was made in Turkey and sent to the Russian Center. Krasny turns.
Yaroslav Pelensky from Harvard Ukrainian Studies in the 80s.
So Moscovian rulers, they had helmets with Arabic scriptures on them, which hints at huge influence of Islam on their territory, probably coming from Tatars. Not probably, but coming from Tatars. And Muscovites are not as Slavic. This is a hint that Muscovites are not as Slavic as you think they are, as they want to be.
Koran scriptures.
And he's pulling one helmet, but there were like dozens of them. And, yeah. And ultimately, like, whether Arabic scriptures or not, it doesn't play as an argument into the appropriation of the false identity. It's just almost like a fun fact.
Ukrainian Studies in the 80s released his work where he states that people just believe them. Muscovy's assertions.
I love this. I love this work. And Yaroslav Pelensky, he found that people just believe them.
That it succeeded to Kiev by right of inheritance were accepted by a large number of historians.
Yaroslav.
Yeah.
So actually, that coin with the
this one?
trident on it, it looked like it's photoshopped. Like the trident is just photoshopped on it. So it probably wasn't scribbled. And Dana Kiev in the chat, she's from Kiev and in Kiev right now. She says, I used to work in graphic design. That coin with trident is photoshopped. And I also saw it. So when I was away, I checked. I looked at it. And I saw that it's really not. Yeah, look at this. It has different, even the different coloring or something. So it looks like a fake.
Yeah, it looks like the original coin was Arabic, and then someone just scribbled the logo on it as an afterthought.
Yeah, and probably even in Photoshop. And even if it's like a real one, when was that scribble made? And the coin itself doesn't look really indigenous. I don't know.
I mean,
but
obviously, real Russia was trading with Arabic people, so we actually see Roman coins in Kiev as well. What do you call it, denari? We see Greek. So like maybe just someone scribbled logo on Arabic coin. Could be that. This is clearly not official, like minted coin, right? It's an afterthought, scribbled by a knife. You can see that if only. But as I'm saying, I want to research. Actually,
so the drama he made about this, like all this music.
The drama.
Oh wow! If he presented something at least that looked original and indigenous. But no, he presented this. This is not a proof of anything when it is cut out like that on the coins. So yeah, to me, it's total.
No.
Hey, Yaroslav.
Just terrible tactics.
And he presents it like, look at the glory, the pompous, the grandeur. Look at that.
Try to guess what prince it belongs to. Maybe Asian Muscovites,
Let's listen
isn't
to it
it?
again. It's just.
Oh, how is that? If anyone doesn't know this,
It's just cringe. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, let's move on.
Where he states that people just believe them. Muscovy's assertions that it succeeded to Kiev by right of inheritance were accepted by a large.
Oh, and by the way,
number of historians, as a matter of fact, beyond the limits of permissible inquiry and critical examination.
And again, the author refers to an obviously biased Ukrainophile and
Obviously biased. So like every historian that I name, he's like biased. But why they're biased? What, like, again at Hominem?
Russophobe from Warsaw.
You know
Russophobe,
why?
another
You know
Russophobe.
why? Because they are not pro-Russian and they are not spreading Russian propaganda. This is why they are
if you're
biased.
pro common sense, if you're pro dignity, if you're pro facts, pro evidence, then you're a Russophobe. Yeah.
Out of the whole 33 minutes of this video, there is only one relatively neutral source. We will come back to it a bit later.
We are the direct descendants of Ruthenian people who lived in Rus. We are not nomadic people like...
So, he called the guy Yaroslav Pelensky, who has what do you call a degree in history, who done his research. He called him biased, completely empty, like no basis why he's biased. Show me something he's biased. Don't just say he's biased. Show me, like, give me a fact that he's biased. Maybe he is, but show me why. It's like,
You know,
just
it's
because,
just like,
yeah.
he's
Fake-
just biased,
it's just fake
okay?
news.
It's fake news.
Yeah.
An obviously biased Ukrainophile and Russophobe from Warsaw. Out of the whole 33 minutes of this video, there is only one relatively neutral source. We will come back to it a bit later.
We are the direct descendants of Ruthenian people who lived in Rus. We are not nomadic people like Turks or Hungarians that came to new territories. Despite Moscow's colossal efforts to assimilate us, we still preserve a lot of Russian identity.
Yaroslav obviously won't tell you that pro-Russian
What was that article he
Still
said?
preserve a lot of Russian identity.
Galician Russophilia? What was that? Have you heard about Галицьке Russofilstvo?
No.
It was it. Russophilia. Okay, whatever. Let's not go deep in this.
Yaroslav obviously won't tell you that pro-Russian sentiments were very strong among the Ruthenians.
Our coat of arms,
I think I'll just be skipping forward and not commenting every detail from now on. It's just, let's keep going. By the way, right there's the original trident, which is coat of arms of, was it Vladimir or Yaroslav? I don't remember. Vladimir.
the crest
Volodymyr,
of
yeah.
Russian ruler Vladimir the Great.
The family crest of one ruler even sounds like oxymoron. The crest was evolving. I think right here he's showing Khazar Tamgaz. Yeah, right here. See the little cross right here? I think this is the coin he's showing that was minted before Mongol invasion in Vladimir Suzda lands, where Muscovy later arose.
Our currency is named grivna, the same name of a currency that was in Rus. Fun fact, ruble means a chunk of grivna, from the word rubate, which means to cut. So if you cut grivna, you get rubles.
Even more interesting fact, grivna was adopted as a national currency of Ukraine only in 20th century.
That's a lie. When Ukrainian National Republic was there, Ukrainians had grivna as well. And by the way, another fun fact, Moscovian money, they are called dinga, which is after Turkish, not Turkish, Turkic language, tenga. Yeah, anyway, their word for money stems from the Turkic language. Ruble. All right, I don't see a point of reading this.
The
Anymore.
Ukrainian classic look involving one earring, a unique haircut called oseledets, and big mustache dates all the way back to Russian ruler Sviatoslav. And Ukrainian Cossacks looked just like him.
At this moment, Yaroslav uses one of the most stupid and illiterate manipulations in this video, comparing the appearance of Sviatoslav Igorovich from the 10th century and the appearance of the Porozhye Cossacks from the 16th century. I mean, there is a difference of half a millennium between them. If you're interested to know why Prince Sviatoslav had such an unusual appearance for the princes of ancient Rus, then there is no definite answer to this question, but there are several versions. The first version is that Sviatoslav most likely borrowed a traditional Turkic hairstyle, Aydar, since Rus during his reign bordered on a huge number of diverse Turkic peoples, Khazars, Avars and Bulgars. However, there is a second, more boring statement. The only source that describes
He's going into why Sviatoslav looked the way he looked. I didn't see a point of why, and he's trying to he's trying to I show look, this is the real Russian ruler, and Ukrainian Cossack look like him. They have preserved this tradition of one earring and the haircut called chub, and the mustache, and he's trying to dilute this connection by going into irrelevant argumentations of why Sviatoslav looked the way he looked. And we also know Sviatoslav, like Russian rulers, they looked, there are coins, old real Russian coins where we see a mustache and no beard, and we still have Yarpolk, another real Russian ruler that also had on his seal, we have a mustache, which is actually a contrast with Muscovites because they always had beards.
Sviatoslav's appearance is the chronicle of the Byzantine historian Leo
Yeah,
the Deacon.
Leo Deacon.
The
He
Deacon
described his
himself
appearance.
wasn't an
Yeah.
eyewitness to the negotiations with Sviatoslav. It is possible that he could copy the description of Sviatoslav's appearance from the description of Attila's appearance, since he considered this East Slavic prince to be another barbarian. Therefore, even if Sviatoslav Igorevich had such a hairstyle, it had a clear Asian and non-Slavic origin. Agree, it turns out a little strange. The Khazar hairstyle, the Arabic script on the coins,
Oh, he got more of those scribbled coins. What the hell is that? I gotta really get to the bottom of this now. I'm curious. Hey, come on! Like, look at those photos. Those are clearly different hairstyles. One is like a ponytail, like a horsetail at the end, and the other is, yeah. So it's like flat Earth arguments. It's just like, oh, they look similar. Thus, like,
probably if Sviatoslav had been born
I
300
think he's just butthurt that actual real Russian rulers looked like Ukrainian Cossacks, and he's trying to find and pick on anything that would help him with that narrative.
8 years later and had become a prince in Moscow.
And again, it's like completely irrelevant to the video of Moscovia appropriating Russian identity.
Yaroslav
Well,
had
actually, not that irrelevant, because there is some lineage, right? Ukrainian kept the same style.
I'm happy to call him a non-Slavic, Finno-Turkic Asian Muscovy. By the way, like Sviatoslav, the Zaporozhye Cossacks also borrowed their appearance from Asians. Right now I'm showing you the costs of arms in many countries in Southern and Eastern Europe.
So apparently Ukrainian Cossacks have borrowed that style from Asians, according to Moscow Mapper.
That have a character with a so-called Saradets on his head. And that's not a Zaporozhye Cossack at all, it's a
And
Turk.
look at these photoshopped
The
Yeah.
emblems.
emblems. It's just
From Asians.
low
Right
taste.
now I'm showing
Like
you
poor
costs
taste,
of
very
arms in
poor
many
taste.
Let's just ask ChatGPT. What the hell is this? Let's ask ChatGPT. What is this? Because again, when you're lying, you can just throw whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever.
he's just making these PNGs and like trying to present them for facts. What the fuck?
Slovakia. This is Slovakia coat of arms. Country from Hungarian king standing victorious, fallen Cossack, Ukrainian. Okay, so do you see that? To disprove, he's saying Cossacks took the appearance from Asians, and to disprove that argument, he's showing Ukrainian Cossack. It's like it's like the first. What was the law of logic? When you try to define something, you should not use what you're trying to define. Yeah.
his head. And that's
I
not
actually
a
don't know. Maybe you just forgot. But take the other pictures because this one looks like. No, let's not take this one. I think the first. Okay, no problem. Let's ask about a few of them.
Yeah.
Zaporozhye Cossack.
Oh, okay, this is interesting. Yeah, I see your point. It looks kind of photoshopped.
Yeah, most of them.
Century
Only-
Lapeer.
Only that one with defeated Cossack that didn't look photoshopped. But
Okay, yeah, so he again shows Ukrainian Cossacks. I guess Ukrainian Cossacks made a lot of enemies, so that they're depicted on the hero. I didn't know that. That is interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, let's ask about this one, but some of them are really photoshopped.
it
like-
reflects Hungarian wars against Turks and later Cossacks. Authentic coat of arms, town, Slovakia. Okay, back again. So they all seem to be stemming from Hungary, from Kingdom of Hungary. So why such
So these seems to be real, and let's take maybe some obviously photoshopped ones, because some of them really looked like they're
It's a Turk.
made up.
In Ukraine.
I just
Older
need to
son.
look at them again.
this?
That's on his head. Also borrowed the appearance from Asians.
This
Right.
maybe not, but
Now I'm showing
Okay,
you the
wait.
coats of arms and
He's saying he just point blank said that these were borrowed from
Yeah.
Asians, but
what about this one?
ChatGPT is showing that it depicts Ukrainian Cossack, although this doesn't look like Ukrainian Cossack. Fusion of Tatar imagery here earlier is not this. So Cossacks and Tatars wore similar hairstyle. Okay. Road line Caroline. So from perspective of Hungarians, they kind of looked alike.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ukrainian Cossacks had a history with Austria and Hungary, definitely.
So-
That was Taras Rurik's message.
So I think Moscow Mapper's argument goes like this. Ukrainian Cossacks' appearance is not stemming from real Russians, it's stemming from Asians. And he's providing some Hungarian heraldics that depict either Ukrainian or Tatar heads. This is really interesting, and it certainly requires more observation. More like, did it really look? Did
By the
Tatars-
way, Yaroslav, there's a cool suggestion from Niko Naumenko in the chat. Please ask GPT to show the sources too. So it's important because it may show some Russian sources to you of the previous coat of arms messages. Not messages, but the pictures. So if you can go to the previous requests and ask for the sources.
I think the source. I mean, you're saying that ChatGPT might confuse that this is authentic.
No, confused that ChatGPT may operate some Russian or pro-Russian sources and really give some propaganda sometimes too. So it might be in some Russian sources of some decades ago, or Soviet or the imperial ones, or the modern ones.
But yeah, this certainly requires more research, like who borrowed from whom. But I don't think Ukrainian Cossacks borrowed from Asians. It's obvious that they borrowed from real Russians,
Yeah.
princes.
I agree with this.
All right, let's keep watching.
many
I'm
countries
still
in
loving
South
that cat on the background, chilling back says.
Yeah,
The
And
kid
then
is
Eastern
I mean,
gorgeous.
it's part of the atmosphere.
have a character with a so-called
But
set
I didn't know there was so many of those.
that's on his head. And it's not a Zaporozhye Cossack at all. It's a Turk.
In
I'm
Ukraine,
still
it's
not
Cossack.
sure
Oh yeah,
that
he says
all
he
of
says right
them.
here that those Moscow Mapper says that those are Turk symbol. So the silver coin with Rus Dvozub symbol on the Arabian dirham was what sort of international currency in the early years of Rus. They weren't made in Rus, but were used for trade in Europe. Yeah. Thank you. That was my theory. That scribbled to
Look just like him. Compare that to
So yeah, his argument is like completely null there.
any Muscovy ruler, Ivan the Terrible, for example. Completely different.
Oh yeah. You see right there, those are all not. he's presenting. Actually, no. This one is.
Actually, we
The illustrations he presented, they are all like
Not
modern,
at all. It's a Turk.
except
Ukrainian
one.
Cossacks look just
Except,
like him. Compare that to any Muscovy ruler, Ivan the Terrible, for example. Completely different.
Except this one, but we don't know who is depicted on this one. So this is modern. This is modern. This is modern.
Actually, we also have
Modern-ish.
some people identifying themselves as Ruthenians living in Ukraine, majority of them being beyond the Carpathian Mountains. So most likely, the natural renaming didn't reach them in isolation.
Yaroslav has a very funny attitude towards Russians. He literally treats them as isolated savages who simply don't know that they are actually Ukrainians. No, man, if you think that Ukrainians are separate people from Russians, then by exactly the same logic you should consider that Russians separate people from Ukrainians, since they managed to preserve their original language and culture despite the total Ukrainization in Soviet and independent Ukraine.
Nobody knows what
Did you understand his argument here?
Not really.
Which I'm like,
relation.
Yaroslav has a very funny attitude towards Russians.
I don't have a funny attitude towards Russians.
He literally treats them as isolated savages who simply don't know that they are actually Ukrainians. No, man, if you think that Ukraine
No, it's a lie. I don't treat them as savages that they know that they're Ukrainians. They are a separate identity, but their origin, they're stemming from Rus, real Russia. As I was saying in my video, the renaming, the natural renaming didn't spread to them because they live beyond the mountains. So they were
are separate
isolated.
people from Russians.
And now, because there was 800 years of different evolution since the real Russia collapsed, or even more, they have evolved into different identity almost. So
Then by exactly the same logic you should consider that Russians separate people from Ukrainians, since they managed to preserve their original language and culture despite the total Ukrainization in Soviet and independent Ukraine.
So this was total Ukrainization in Soviet Union. This is a deliberate cherry picking tactic, and he's lying here with the total because you know what happened? Like Ukrainization indeed happened in Soviet Union because when Soviet Union was just establishing, they didn't have enough strength to resist national movements. So they were like, we will give you as much national freedom as you want. So that people would trust the Soviets. Even Hrushevsky, who this Moscow mapper calls as Ukrainian nationalist, he believed Muscovites and Bolsheviks, and he came back 2 years to Soviet Union, and later they killed him. Anyway. So this Ukrainization, it was a brief tactic to basically to invoke trust. You can trust us. Here you go. You can be Ukrainian in Ukraine. Don't worry. But you know, what happened after Russification, after Ukrainization ended? A Holodomor. 5 million Ukrainians massacred, murdered from starved to death.
Yep.
The Ukrainization lasted only a brief several years, and this Moscow mapper again, he's collaborating it's almost like a Holocaust denier. So he's right there. He subtly, indirectly denies the genocide, the deportations that Soviet Muscovites were doing under their empire that was called USSR.
Should consider that Russians separate people from
You see, this guy. Sorry, I paused it. I just see the stream with a delay, and it's hard. But quick pause here since we're already doing this. There's a 22 Norwegian krona super chat from Yoni Nedregard for Itachi. Nah, that's cool. Thank you for that, Yoni. And Nikki Hill for 5 gifted memberships earlier. Thank you for that. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Ukrainians, since they managed to preserve their original language and culture despite the total Ukrainization in Soviet and independent Ukraine.
What a liar. What a liar.
Nobody knows what Ukraine means exactly, but the most prominent theory is that it means inland, a sort of homeland. UNV means in. That's why on some maps that we are about to see, you will see Ukraine spelled through the V, Ukraina. The remaining part, Kraina, means country.
Witness Muscovite culture in all its glory.
As far as I understand, according to Yaroslav's logic, this Latin inscription on the Spanish coat of arms doesn't really read as plus ultra, but as Pelaves Veltra.
The word Ukraine was first mentioned in the 12th century Kiev Chronicle in the context of original ruler dying and that Ukraine was mourning him a lot.
It's true, but by Ukraine in this text means the outskirts of the lands of Pereslavl Principality. By the way, Yaroslav mentioned the Ipativ Chronicle as a source. So let's look at it in a little more detail. Maybe there are mentions of Ukraine in it? And yeah, there is. And again in the context of the outskirts. It's worth noting that during the time of Kievan Rus, the word Ukraine didn't have a specific territorial meaning. Therefore there were dozens of these Ukraines. The modern Ukraine got its name from the lands along the Dnieper River, which for a long time were the outskirts of Poland-Lithuania. The border in Polish is Krai, hence Ukraina. It's like a province located at the ends of the kingdom. And there is nothing humiliating or insulting in this. For example, the name of the Baltic Galinda tribe comes from a word meaning outskirts, or the name of the Mercia region comes from the Old English word merg, which translates as a boundary. Well, or the name of the country Denmark, which translates
Look at that, he's showing Ukrainian map with the annexed territories.
as a borderland of Danes.
Let's check out the whole maps.
Yeah, the origin of the name Ukraine, clearly no one can tell you definitively where the name originates. It originally in the chronicles it meant a region. So back then there was no name, there was no word to describe a region, not even a duchy. There was the name Zemlya, land, and there was a name Ukraina. And I strongly believe that name stems from the word ukrayati, which is to basically make a cutout in fabric, and like to make a cutout means to ukrayat, and which basically means like a region. He also admits the fact that in Polish language, kraj also means territory, land. Like there was this army of Krajowa. It's like it doesn't mean army. But anyway, so Ukraine, what it meant, a region, and then later on, Ukraine became a geographical label on the south. I actually go in this in more detail in my video, and you can see on the old maps where it says Ukraine, the land of Cossacks. So Ukraine evolution went from meaning a region to meaning a geographical location next to the Black Sea on the south of Kiev. We can see it on many maps right here. Вкраїна, Pais de Kozake, Ukraine, the land of the Cossacks. So Ukraine meant that region. But overall, I don't see any point of going deeper into this on the stream. So let's.
That's one of the funniest parts.
Yeah. So I'm saying, Poland, borderland. Besides the most prominent theory that Ukraine means Ukraina, Ukrainian language doesn't even have the word Ukraina in it. It's Ukrainian language has okolitsa.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Part of this video. Yaroslav chooses only those maps that are beneficial for his propaganda narrative, and apparently considering his view is blind, and specifically ignores fragments of maps where the territories of the Moscow Principality are marked with the word Russia.
1595 Germanic map, and we see Moscovia, and then where there is Leopolis we see Russia, right? And then we see Kiev. 1595 Germanic map, and we see Moscovia.
Yeah, I was waiting for their argument. So, let's see. When to explain what that label is doing there, and I think I already explained it in one of my videos, we have to understand how people back then thought, especially the map makers and and overall. When Russia collapsed, and you're aware, Kiev has controlled really vast territories, and he's referring to this map right here. This is a map by Mercator, and right here is actually original of his map. And the map is called Russia Confinis, meaning Russia in its borders. And you can see everything green. See the green right here. This is old. It's what it's called back then. People used to call this territory as archaic name Russia. Basically, this is where Russia once was. This old territory was Russia. And you can see that the borders of Russia, or the geographical, like, not even geographical, it's like a historical archaic location was called Russia. And you can see it being repeated next to Lviv. You can still see the geopolitical name Moscovia. This is not a name of the region or duchy or kingdom. This is the name of the state. You can see Livonia, Lithuania, so Moscovia. So he puts name of the state, and right here he points out that this whole territory was called as Russia, archaic name Russia. Another map that beautifully depicts this would be I think it was a couple more maps. Oh yeah, right here is one. So again, we see Nieva Kart van Moscovian, so like clearly a Moscovian map, and we see right here Russia Moscovite, so it means Moscovia that is in Russia. And then we right here Tartari Moscovite. We see Moscovia is Tartari. So in this sense, Russia is a territory where Russia, real Russia, once was, because this was indeed Russian colony back then. And right here we see where Russia, real Russia, was never there. This is the land Tartari, which Europeans called Golden Horde for, it was like, or also archaic name, because Golden Horde was not already there in the year 1747. But the historical namings have preserved. And we see that, we see this kind of mentality on many other maps. This was just one of them. I have another map somewhere.
So basically, that Russia there, the big letters,
Yeah.
It's like we would call it Europe these days, or Asia as for Russia, right? If we take a big chunk of European land, and we with big letters put there Europe, but we have the separate states' names inside, and that's logical, yeah. So it means. It would, like in modern standards, Russia would be called Asia across the whole Russia there, right?
No, it's more. See, this is really hard to understand to modern people because our logic shifted in the way we think about territories. But back then, it was. We also see that in Herbenstein and Passivino, Antonio Passivino, he says, the Russia belongs to three kings right now. Livonian, Polish, and Moscovian. So we see this not just on maps, but we see how Europeans preserve this territory as old archaic Russia, and that three kings controlled it. So the thing is, what he's trying to show is that that label is the name of the state, but that label is not the name of the state. He's manipulating there. He's substituting terms. He's like, oh, this is Russia. But no, it's not the name of the state. It's the name, it's the historical, archaic name of the territory, a tradition that is no longer with us. And actually, I don't have it with me right now, but there are tons of other maps that preserve historical lands like that. Well, there's one... like, for example, Roman Empire. So writing Russia right there would be like writing somewhere in France, Roman Empire. Basically, Roman Empire was once there, and now it's no longer there. So I found bunch of old maps of Roman Empire. So Roman Empire no longer exists, but people kept making maps about it. And there are also maps about Sarmatia, about Scythia, even the Tartaria. Like there was never a country called Tartaria, but it was still a territory. It was still a territory. And another thing that debunks that right here, Mercator, he made the political map right here, Europe. So he made the political map of Europe, and right here we no longer see big Russia, and we see Lithuania, Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, this green. We see Crimean Hanat in green, and we see Moscovia in yellow. And up right here we do see Rus, which is where Novgorod Republic has been, and Novgorod also has associated with the Europeans as real Russian colony for a real long time. But again, the same map maker, he made a political map of Europe, and right here he made a map specifically for the archaic Russia within its borders, archaic name for the land, so it's not the name of the state. And Moscovia just happened to be on the territory that was a colony of Russia. Just like, I don't know, England was on the territory that was colony of. Another thing also interesting here, Gotia. If there are any historians who understand this, I perceive it to be also to be an archaic historical name. Like I don't think there was a country called Gotia. There is an island called Got. But this would again prove that this map uses old historical names. Unfortunately, I don't have right now with me maps that would show like Scythia, Sarmatia, because back then it was like a tradition. Okay. It was a tradition to be thinking in those archaic terms. Oh, this is where Russia once was. This is the territory where Russia was. But it doesn't mean that this name is the name of the state. So,
yeah. And you see kind of having all those names at the same time. Moscovia, Russia a few times on the map in a few different spots. Also doesn't prove his point, because he's saying that, oh, here's Russia, and what about that Russia?
Yeah, and what about exactly. It's like,
and what about...
If he says that this is the name of state in the 16th century, then what is the name of state doing here next to Lviv? And then if he's saying, if this is Moscovia, like, what is his excuse? What is this? If he's saying this is the name of the region, then where are the names of other regions in the same font? Like, we should be seeing Ryazan, Suzdal, Tver, Novgorod. No, we don't see that. This is the name of the state. This is the name of archaic historical name that this tradition is no longer preserved in the modern world to be calling the territories. And we also see the Asia parts written in the same font as Russia. So there was a clear divide right here. Actually, it's easier to see on this map. This is the original map, and someone colorized it later like this. So that's that. And if you have any questions about this, but we can clearly see the guy is manipulating. He's manipulating, and he tries to present as if I'm manipulating.
Yeah, damn. Just gaslighting, basically.
Yep, I had another beautiful map that was showing this divide between the Tatar Rus and Moscovian Rus. I found this one. I had another one. Oh well. I already start forgetting where is what. But
let's maybe finish up the video, because it's in late hour already, 1 a.m. here.
Yeah, let's keep watching, and I'll speed it up a little bit.
Thank you.
So this is a tribute to himself. He's laughing. He's laughing. It's like looking at the mirror. His own ignorance and mediocrity.
Map 1690.
What was that? Oh, look at that. He's spending time on.
So instantly we land on the map, 1690, made in Amsterdam, and we see Moscovia.
The name Moscovia and the name Russia
Yeah,
are used on this
and
map.
it,
As we mentioned earlier, foreigners call this state both. At the same time, it's easy to notice that Moscovia occupies only a
Foreigners never called it both. It's another lie.
small part of the territory of Russia, and rather designates one of the regions than the whole country. Here are some more maps that use terms Russia and Moscovia as absolute synonymous for the same state. I think it's more than enough to refute Yaroslav Title, because as he said himself,
Lastly, I would like to address the preposterous title of Moscow Tsars, as they had self-proclaimed themselves to be Tsars of all Russia.
Yaroslav is not trying to expose the title sovereign of all Russia, which totally contradicts his claim from the start of this video, where he says Peter the Great renamed Moscow.
The theft officially happened in 1721, when Peter the Great renamed the entire state of Moscovia into the Russian Empire.
Anyway, let's look at his arguments.
The best way to refute that would be to read from Antonius Posavini work, The Moscovia, from 1587. If we go to page 61 and zoom in, the Grand Princes of Muscovy refer to themselves as lords of all Russia, even though much of what they call Russia is in the hands of a Polish king.
Guys, let me show you a map of Kievan Rus and compare it with the borders of the Russian Tsardom and the Poland Lithuania during the reign of Ivan the Terrible, so we can compare who controlled both lands. Fortunately, unlike Posavina, who lived in 16th century, now we have such an opportunity.
Ivan, when writing to the Turks, on occasion ordered himself called Emperor of Germany as well. When coveting Livonia and casting an eye on Prussia, Ivan claimed that he was descended from a brother of Augustus Caesar.
Just as always, it's completely unclear what Yaroslav wanted to prove with this quote. Such statements by Ivan
What do you mean unclear? I wanted to prove that Muscovites just make things up.
the Terrible were all
I have more evidence, unfortunately not with me right now, how Herberstein was also saying that Moscow Tsars, when they were talking to the German, Holy Roman Empire emperor, they were using one title, but they were talking to Polish king, they were using another title. So not only that they made up their own title, but they keep switching them when they see fit their best narratives.
a confirmation of his bold ambitions during the Livonian War. Even if his title eventually had been supplemented, it would make absolutely no difference, because Ivan was first of all the sovereign of all Russia, just as Napoleon was first of all the emperor of the French, and Victoria was first of all the queen of the United Kingdom.
While it was common for kings to put in their titles the name of lands territories they have conquered, for example, the name Russia was also in the titles of Polish, Hungarian, Lithuanian kings, title alone does not give them any right to claim the name Russia.
Yaroslav is drawing yet another completely inappropriate analogy. Yes, Yagailo, August Frederick, and John Casimir couldn't inherit Kievan Rus, because they were representatives of another dynasty and rulers of completely another state and country. This
Wait, because you're from another dynasty, you cannot inherit other people? That's not how it works. Off the top of my head, Norwegians had a Danish king or a Swedish king in there. Right? I think there was someone from Norway here. He can confirm that they had their king. Actually, Norway still has a king, and I think their dynasty stems from another nation. So.
can be
Oh, nice. We finally have a first troll here. Good.
Do we?
Yeah.
That'll be exciting.
Ukrainians is Turkic Khazar, not Slavic. Caligula says.
Oh, okay. Okay.
the
Funny.
name way to Moscow princes, since they were
Okay,
not foreign
let's
invaders,
go.
who later assimilated with the local population, such as Lithuania, for example. The lands of this principality, before fragmentation, were the territories of Kievan Rus, and Moscow principality was founded by the Rurikids.
Why does it matter if Moscovia falsely claims to be a Rus successor? I mean, there's Wallachia calling itself as Romania, directly deriving its name from the Roman Empire.
Going back to Posavina book, there is stuff that Yaroslav would definitely not appreciate. For example, Posavina, like many other authors of that time, spreads the name Muscovites to all Eastern Slavs, writing about Prince Vladimir of Moscow. The best way to explain the situation was another foreigner, the French mercenary Jacques Margaret.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for this to come up. So I've already dealt with this Jacques Margaret guy from another Muscovite who debunked my video. This Margaret, this Margaret is not a reliable source. First of all, we don't have the original writing of his, and second of all, he will say that he presented this argument in the 16th century, but there was no Russian Empire. As you can see right here, the Empire de Russie et Grande Duchy de Moscovia. It's like a really weird title. The lands of Russian Empire and Great Duchy of Moscovia, like there was no Russian Empire in the 16th century when this was made, and the actual republishing that happened later in the 19th century already after the rebranding. So this source is really unreliable, and Muscovites really love it because it just perfectly says what they want, and I think this source was tampered with.
Who ruled the book the Russian state and the Grand Duchy of Moscovia. Russians have been called Muscovites for some
Yeah,
time
there we
now.
go.
After they threw off the yoke of Tatars, as the Christian world learned something about them.
Like if you look at the original, like if you look, as I said, the original one is not existing. There was a republished version in the 18th century, and that version in the 18th century has tons of contradictions. And as I said, one of the contradictions was that there was no empire in the 16th century. Then they used the terms like they used some modern terms. They used different ways to write Russia, like especially in Latin. It had like actually in my video right here I actually go about this.
ГУЛАГи сталинским.
If someone's curious, you can watch this video where I debunk this Jacques Margaret right here.
Так, то есть русские
Хвала.
сами они,
Oh, right here, yeah,
Ни
I debunked
Российской
this guy.
империи, ни наций.
то есть
Стили написания
So right
Руси.
here, I mean it's in Moscovian language, but you can pause translate if you're really curious about the contradiction that's going on with this guy.
Which bears the princely title. Not the only one in the country, since the sovereign was once called the Grand Duke.
This just showcases that Muscovites can't present anything real, just some kind of really shady evidence
of
on the
Vladimir.
table.
Therefore, mistaking to call them
Classics.
Muscovites, not Russians, as not only we who live far away do, but also their closer neighbors. When asked which nation they belong to, they answer Russians. And
Oh, right there, which nation they belong to. In the 16th century, there was no nations. It's like there was no empire, there was no nations. There's just so many contradictions.
if asked from where, they answer from Moscow, Vologda, Ryazan, and other cities. And concluding this video, I can help but note Yaroslav's obvious Russophobia. I don't like to put labels, especially the label of any phobia, when it's unreasonable, but here it's more than obvious.
Muscovites are expert in deceptions and lies. The point I want to make is that Muscovites are systematic liars. Lying is the core attribute of Muscovites. It's their foundation. Current Russia, on the other hand, is not keeping the past behind. It's not moving on. And not because they don't want to. It's because they can't. Expansion of their empire, lies, meddling in others' affairs, serve them in puppeteering, disregard for individualism and human rights is the very foundation of their very existence from their very birth as a slave within the Mongol horde. That's why they invaded Ukraine, to preserve themselves. While being the richest country on earth in terms of natural resources, while having the most amazing opportunities to prosper and grow, they are acting right now in a self-destructing ways because they just can't act otherwise. Acting otherwise would imply them being democratic. Them respecting international law.
Jesus Christ.
Act otherwise. Acting otherwise would imply them being democratic.
Okay, war now, elections later. Western allies are urging Ukraine to hold has rejected such demands. Another flat earth kind of argument that I don't even want to go into.
Them respecting international law. Upholding human rights. Which would be acting against international law.
Right, you see what's going on here?
Upholding human rights. Which would be acting against their that would mean letting go dozens of nations they have conquered.
He's acting from a place of moral superiority, as if his country is like... I don't even want to go in there. I think my audience already understand this. The hypocrisy of Moscow Mapper.
Chechnya, Dagestan, Siberia, Sakha, Buryatia, and so on. That would
It's
mean
just
to return
pathetic.
Karelia to Finland, Kuban and Crimea to Ukraine, Amur to China, Smolensk to Belarus.
Using the example of Yaroslav, we saw how, hiding behind the good intentions of fighting propaganda, these people using manipulations, forgery.
I also want to point your attention at how he's using this is another tactic of Muscovites that I recently, well, not recently, but like when I was dealing with this Muscovite, Stefanov. The tactic that they're using is they try to be polite. They try to,
Especially in the beginning, right?
in the beginning. Yeah. Sometimes you might notice. You might even notice this system. They give you a compliment, and then they give you a punch. So basically, their politeness, their like good intentions, is just a pretty wrapper. It's literally all it is. It's just like their country. It's like a mask, wearing a mask, a facade, but underneath it, it's rot. It's mediocrity. It's anti-human system. The same thing he's doing right this. Listen to what he's saying.
Hiding behind the good intentions of fighting propaganda.
He's like, oh, well, I understand Yaroslav is hiding under good intentions, fighting the propaganda.
These people using manipulations, forgery.
But then But then you saw how in the video he belittled, mocked me, like photoshopped me into weird stuff, and it's like, so he's trying. He's like, this politeness is just is just a wrapper, a fake layer for him to seem more presentable, because that way more people can trust him when he's not outright. Like if we strip away this politeness, he outright sounds barbaric, which is exactly what he is. So he just hides it with this. Oh, well, Yaroslav had good intentions.
Minor mistakes and lies are trying to create picture of history that is beneficial primarily to themselves.
History beneficial. How is that history beneficial to Ukraine? Ukraine is not using history as a weapon. Ukrainians do not care what was in the past. Ukrainians care what was. It's so-called modern Russians who use history as a weapon, who canonize history, who glorify Svятая Rus, glory Rus. Like, he's trying to accuse me of what they're doing themselves, using history as a weapon. And they constantly falsify it. Even today, they claim that, they would have won the Second World War without American help, while Stalin himself said that we would not have won. So as time goes by, Muscovites just keep polishing and their fake history, their sacred canon, which is actually one of the attributes of fascism, according to Umberto Eco, the cult of tradition that stems back. Again, as I was saying with Nazis, it was the Third Reich, the continuation. They were standing on the ground. The Muscovites are standing on this Rus. That's why it's really painful for them to see real history, because it would strip part of their identity. But anyway,
Your like and subscription will be the best support for me. Thanks for watching.
My name is
this is the end of his video, and I have Ukrainian flag back there, but he makes it look like it's Russian Empire flag, which I don't even know how people see Russian Empire flag there, but apparently they do. Yeah. So we can also look at some comments.
Yeah, let's do it. I actually have a great one from Alexander Wim there in the chat. He says, Yaroslav and Rick, do not forget to wash your hands after watching / debunking this pile of shit. Yeah, well, I will definitely go wash my eyes too, because there were some really poor taste tricks and insults that dude used. And yes, he's not showing his faith, and
he showed his true nature, though.
He showed his true Moscovian
immature, childish argument, like editing, yeah. And his audience, I look at it, they're mostly, I think a lot of them are actually Muscovites or modern Russians, and they're all, yeah.
I had a question in the beginning of the stream, but I think it would be interesting to ask it.
Yes.
Anyway, it's from Photograph. By the way, his name is Otto. He's one of the rollers, and he's from Netherlands, but he's from region of Frisia in the Netherlands. And he was asking you, do you have Frisia somewhere on the map?
Frisia.
Frisia. Yeah.
So we can look at Frisia. I've never seen that on my map, but here's the 18th century. Hollandia. No Frisia here. Let's maybe find another European map.
It should be somewhere on the shore, and it should be a bigger map of Netherlands.
Hollandai. Oh, right there. Look.
Frisons.
Frison, yeah.
And then Friso. Yeah. On the coast. Yeah, he told me it was on the coast.
Yeah.
Indeed. Here it is. It's pretty cool. Photograph, I think, left already, went to sleep. But if you're still there, Photograph, still watching, here it is. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So Are there
What
any?
century is that once again?
That's 18th century, I believe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, right here.
Fits that. Yeah, it seems like that's Frisia. Okay, 1848.
Oh, this is the ethnographic map. It shows the population, the ethnicities that lived.
Yeah, and Frisians are I think he told me it's more like ethnicity. They didn't have their own independent state, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken. I'm sorry, Otto, if I'm. Yeah, I hope I'm not saying some bullshit here.
Friesland, right here. I think this is. Yeah, when we see letter F, it reads like S back then.
Friesland.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really. Hey, he's here. Thought it was 800. So guess that map of 1800s goes in the past. Yeah, since it's ethno, you see. Oh. Ichigo just did a.
Guys, do you have any questions? Rick, did you collect? Was there any questions to collect?
Yeah, more questions. So Vuchko was asking, isn't Tsar a corruption of Caesar in the first Roman Empire? Yeah, like a corruption of Caesar, Tsar.
Yeah, that is one of the versions, the corruption, Caesar, Tsar. But there was another version. I honestly forgot about it. Yeah, actually, Herberstein goes about this, that Moscovian Tsar has asked Maximilian, the emperor of Holy Roman Empire, to give him the title of emperor, and he refused. So then he took it upon himself to call himself Tsar. And Tsar actually means like emperor, Kaiser. Caesar, Kaiser, Tsar. Yeah, that's one of the versions where Tsar originated. Yeah.
Okay, so we crossed 51,000 mark. We were, guys. Someone remembers how much we had on the fundraiser in the beginning of the stream? If you remember, let me know. But we had like 3 or 4 more donations during the stream. 50 euros, 25. Yeah, they're not on the... Kathy S. donated 25 euros. She was the last one, and she says, Savage Sage says, Ukraine is reality, the Russian Federation is fake. I really like this comment. So guys, I will ask you for the last time today to donate to the ongoing Nefatra campaign. As you can see, we still need to get 13,220 euros, and ideally we should get it in the next few days, but this one is getting harder than the previous ones. I actually know why, and I explained it on my streams. No problem. We just need to finish this one sooner or later, and so that was a treat for a cat.
Yeah.
Got it. That's what was happening there. So yeah, guys, you can get these awesome patches. May the borscht be with you. And drones we trust, because that's what we do here in Ukraine. Of course, a lot of Ukrainians also trust in God, but at the same time, they can trust in drones, just the same as in God. And the Patriot patch, you can get them for 100 euros donations for each patch. Sniffing the camera is really cool. Ichigo, can you hear me? Are you reacting to me?
Itachi. Ichigo is another anime.
Shit. Itachi, sorry
it's
for
okay.
that. I mix names.
I do love the Bleach anime as well.
Itachi, so... okay. Guys, you can donate following the pinned link in the description. Sorry, not in the description, but at the top of the chat. But it is also in the description of the stream. It is basically... their Help Ukraine fundraising campaign, and that's my campaign there. So please support that one. Just Yeah, guys, this kind of content
Yeah,
is what
Itachi's a Maine Coon hybrid. Half Maine Coon, half regular.
this type of content is what you were waiting for, you know. That's basically what you came for here 3.5 hours ago. This was a long stream. We have a bit more questions. The interesting one we got
Yeah, I
from
love the questions.
we got one from Kristaps K. It is next. A question for both Yaroslavs. How do you even go about unraveling a narrative that has been artificially constructed and reinforced for hundreds of years by an immense propaganda machinery? That's an interesting question. How do you even go about unraveling a narrative like this, Yaroslav?
Yeah, it's really hard. Even a lot of Ukrainians still don't. I mean, I didn't know that before the war. Even after the war, it took me like at least a year to be amassing enough evidence to finally see what's what. It's like in my. It's like when you repeat the lie 1,000 times, it becomes the truth. Even how the word Russophobe, yeah, I get it how some people are proud to call themselves Russophobe. But like if you go into the origins and what it means, the Russophobe. And I see a lot of Ukraine armed forces also calling their enemy as Rusnya or Rusak. Sometimes it hurts me when I hear that. It's like they have nothing to do with actual Russia. So please don't call them that. Actually, the video that got me the most views on my Ukrainian channel got 400,000 views is where I go also. It's like a Ukrainian version of how Moscovia has appropriated the name Russia. So.
Oh, cool. I see your Ukrainian channel has even more subscribers than the English one.
I think it's a gradual process. Because the lie is so prevalent, is so big. I think it's going to be gradual. More and more people are becoming aware of the identity appropriation, of the theft, and so just I think give it some time, and I think in like around 50 years there would be no Muscovites that would want to call themselves as Russians, because it's really like if you have dignity, if you have honor, you wouldn't want to call yourself with an appropriated name. At least judging by myself, if I would just learn one day that that what I call myself is a stolen name, I would change to my historic name. And actually, I've met people who do that already. I've met people from modern Russia who already call themselves Muscovites, and I've made an interview with one of them here.
Как ты себя идентифицируешь?
Where does he live right now?
Well, he obviously, it's not safe to be in Moscow Empire now.
Yeah.
He lives in Europe. Yeah.
What's his name?
His name is Artyom, and he has a Telegram channel where he explores, rediscovers the identity. The problem with the modern Russians is that not only they appropriated the other name, but they have repressed their original identity, their Turco-Finnish, their Tataric, the origins. They have suppressed them, and it's you got to be rediscovering them. It's a process. It's gonna last. It's gonna last a while, I think. But ultimately, I think we're not gonna see Russia on our maps. I don't think.
Oh, may I ask you to turn on the video, and I want to hear the answer to the question to whom Crimea belongs to.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Рабы сражаются, что... Как ты себя идентифицируешь?
Я себя идентифицирую как московит. Распад империи, он неизбежен.
Рабы сражаются, чтобы оставаться рабами.
Московиты думали создание своей республики. И Россия также рухнет.
Тогда начну с... Это равносильно вопросу, нужно ли возвращать воров. Или бумажка, знаешь, важный вопрос.
Вопросы. Крым это...
Да. Меня Ярослав. Начну с первого вопроса. Чей Крым?
Крым это территория Украины, временно оккупированная Россией. Такие простые вопросы.
Это...
Yeah, Crimea is Ukrainian territory temporarily occupied by so-called Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Pretty good answer.
Yeah.
And that's the first answer you should ask every Russian.
Yes,
You know,
it's a simple question. I agree.
and I actually have two more questions. I think I told it to you on my stream, but I want to repeat it here. So the second question would be, did you ever support the Ukrainian army with donations? And the third one, and in my opinion the most important here, is this. Do you think that the only way for this madness of invasions and genocide that Russia is committing to stop is for Russia to disintegrate and stop being an empire? So decolonization of Russia. Do you support it? So, and the answer to that question will definitely let us know if we have an imperialist in front of us, or maybe some adequate person who is not an imperialist, because in my opinion every imperialist is an inadequate person. Yes. That question for both Yaroslavs, right? How do you even go about unraveling a narrative? Basically, I'm not unraveling this complex narrative like Yaroslav does, and he's really going deep into history and finding proofs and documents. He's a researcher, a historian, and I am not, and I just can share my experience mostly, and some facts that I know, and oh my god, that's a long cat. And I just, so I am not, a researcher and academic. My field of work is raising funds for Ukrainian army, and me and my community, for example, back in 2024, we raised $534,000, so $500,000 during the last year. We're really proud of it. I think this year we're going to beat the record, but I'm not sure. But I just lack time to go and check the statistics. So I also raise funds through my PayPal, not only through these campaigns. We are showing you on the screen right now. Through my PayPal, I'm reporting about every donation of yours. I'm mentioning it on the stream. I'm putting it into the spreadsheet that I'm demonstrating on the screen on my streams. And I always raffle something there. So guys, I can actually I want to show you the raffle item we have this week. And this is the patch of the 82nd Airborne Brigade, but not the Ukrainian one, but the United States one. But we have a volunteer here in Ukraine, Matthew. His call sign is Guk, and he's he is fighting here in Ukraine right now. He's already an instructor, but back in the days he was fighting in Serebryansky Forest in Luhansk Oblast, and he was wearing this patch there. So it's a battle-worn patch in Serebryansky Forest. And you guys, if you want to buy the tickets for this patch, you need to find the PayPal on my channel. The best way is going to be to visit the stream tomorrow. I'm going to have 2 streams tomorrow. Tomorrow in the evening is the every Sunday stream where we raise money, and we have a goal to raise $3,000. So if you can chip in with any sum of money, you can donate tomorrow there to that fundraiser, because I have many fundraisers going in parallel. This one through the link that you can see in the chat, and the other ones, a few of them, usually 1, 2, 3, usually some of them are small, but through my PayPal. Just wanted to mention that. Yaroslav, I hope I'm okay. I hope you're okay with me talking about that.
Oh, absolutely. I love what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate people who support you.
Thank you.
It's amazing. This stream roller culture is a totally new world for me, and I'm stepping into it. And good stuff.
More questions from the chat. Daniel Craft 15. Yaroslav, Savage Sage, will you be making a video about Litva? I think you said in some interview.
About Litva, I don't see myself making the video. I'm not an expert on Lithuania, so I would leave that to a Lithuanian to do such a video, and I would love to watch it actually because I have gaps of knowledge about Lithuania, especially their buckle with Litvins, the Belarusians, and yeah, it's interesting to learn more.
One more, Letter Cat. Can you show in brief the things Moscovia stole, like architecture, the nest in dolls, etc.? That's a question for you, Yaroslav. Would you like?
Yeah, I have a whole video on what they stole on my...
you actually already have it. Nice.
Yeah.
So Lettercat, go check if you... Maybe you meant that video, Lettercat, I don't know.
So what Russia really is, and I go about it how... Oh, right here, exposing Russia for what it really is, and I go about how they stole or appropriated or copied or licensed.
Спробуй піколакс з вечора і результат
Sorry
чекає.
for the ad, guys. It's a Ukrainian ad. If you just saw.
Picolux.
Yeah, they appropriated vodka. It was a Polish invention. They stole nested dolls from Japanese culture. It was a Japanese god, Fukurojuku. And the problem is not that even they appropriated a copy. They once they stole it, they immediately claimed it as their own. It's like, what else? AK-47 is not a so-called Russian invasion space program appropriated from Germans and Ukrainian scientists. By the way, the proof of that is that Muscovites, modern Russians, they don't fly in space. They don't have any innovations in space now because they can appropriate it. Obviously, the nuclear bomb is stolen. Look, all the cars, all of their technology literally lags 2 generations behind. Like, it comes out in Italy, it comes out in Germany, and then 2 generations later, Muscovites copy it. So... Yeah, I made a whole video about that. Oh, they even copy historical deeds, but anyway, check it out.
Yeah, check that video out, guys. So I also wanted to respond to Laura's message in the chat. She says, Rick, you mentioned doing 2 streams tomorrow, but didn't tell the viewers what is your second one. For those who don't know. Yeah, the first stream tomorrow is going to be me going on the protest here in Kyiv. It's actually a peaceful protest, a rally. I call it a Free Azov rally. And I go there every week and I interview people who I meet there. Sometimes I meet the families of the captives. Sometimes I meet the former captives. Like I did last week, I met a guy, a soldier, Ukrainian defender, who spent 2 years and 7 months in Russian captivity. And guys, he's unbroken. He is a very inspiring guy, and he is a warm-hearted person. So those streams are called Free Azov, just like the rallies. I call it a Free Azov stream. And that's a live action. I basically go and interview people on the streets and hear some crazy stories. Sometimes those stories are very interesting and mind-blowing. You know, it can be like, once I met a girl who is 17 years old, but she was escaping Bucha when she was 14 years old, and escaping Bucha, and when it was liberated, seeing the bodies on the streets. And she was talking about this with a smile on her face, but you could see it's a defensive mechanism, and you can imagine how traumatized she may be. You know, so every Ukrainian has a story to tell connected to the war or occupation or just the current resistance they're a part of, you know, either like a volunteer or a soldier. a former captive, an activist, a mom who adopted 2 orphans, for example. So those kinds of streams, they are very, very interesting and special. So if you want to check it out someday, go check it out tomorrow, 5 p.m. Ukrainian time. And I start the long evening stream at 9 p.m. Ukrainian time, because I need to have some dinner before that. But anyway, enough talking about that. Just wanted to share this part of my life and all of our community with you guys, because that's big. We go there on the streets every week because we want to support the captives and, most importantly, their families. And the former captive who I met last week, Stas, he told me that he got the information about these rallies when he was in captivity from the newcomers, new captives who were ended up in captivity, and they were telling them that people go out on the streets in support of them. And he told me, you know what? It helped us to not go mad, because we knew that it's not only our families who care about us and who wait for us, but it's the Ukrainian citizens, and also the government didn't forget about us. So that, talking to him gave me such an inspiration to continue this work. And he, like, multiple times also said, you should continue doing this work. So, hearing it from the person who you are doing this for in the first place, who you cannot reach out to because they are in Russian captivity, is just another level of experience. So sorry for going so long about this, but to me it's a very important topic, and
it's a very important topic. I'm glad you're bringing it up. Yeah, I can't imagine what people are going through in Moscow captivity. It's the way they treat their own people. You can imagine how they treat Ukrainians. Jesus.
Yeah, there are multiple interviews. There are many of them, actually. I think it's dozens of interviews up until now of Ukrainian former captives who are actually telling in details what Russians are doing to them there, how they torture them, starve them, or feed them with just some, like, a ghost of a food. You cannot call this shit a food. And they come back from captivity and sometimes die in a few months because they can't handle the damage being done to their health. But a lot of them rehabilitate, and I'm really happy to see that. So, Yaroslav, you can see that it's super easy to stream for 4 hours. You told me, you know what, I don't think that my first stream can be that long, but we're almost streaming for 4 hours.
Right, crazy.
It's pretty long time, yeah. But what? Maybe you want to notice something in the chat?
If there are any questions, I would love to answer it if I can. But
if you were looking in the chat, maybe you also see something. But I think I missed a lot when I was given this last speech. So let's see, what do we have here? Not a misled dude. Huh.
I think we can do it more. We can do it more of it, maybe once a month or something like that. We can watch Moscow propaganda and debunk it, and do fundraiser. Kind of like the more Muscovites make their propaganda, the more they will end up helping Ukraine.
Yeah. Andres says we have 5 questions in the mod chat. Andres, did you hear me? No, sorry. You probably didn't hear me asking all 5. So all 5 questions were asked already and answered. Yes. But yeah, it's a good idea to do it like once a month. I would love to do it. So let's try to schedule another one for, let's see, like 14th. No, wait, 13th of September. So guys, if you want to see more of this, you can come in a month. We'll try to organize it exactly in a month. Okay, I see that people are thanking us for the stream. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, moderators, for doing your work, because it's not only posting links and bunking the trolls, but also providing the communication in the chat, something that we don't have the time to communicate. Moderators do that, so it's a pretty hard work. I moderated 1 hour streams one day, and damn, I was so tired. After that, we have a 6th question just incoming from Andreas. Acting solidarily with Ukraine, should we report the mapper, Savage Sage? Yeah, I think you guys, in my opinion, you should report. Yaroslav, what do you think?
Yeah, just like you would report a Holocaust denier, and you saw how he, while not doing it directly, but he was presenting a narrative as if Soviet Union was so good for Ukrainians, denying the Holodomor. You saw how he's twisting history, weaponizing it. Yeah, I would totally report the guy. I don't think... the thing with Moscow Empire, it always becomes rich by exploiting Western gullibility, Western openness. Not gullibility, Western, like, trustworthiness. It's like Soviet Union collapse and Western world is like, yay! At the very same time, while Moscow was murdering people in Moldova, 2 years later, Moscow was murdering people in Georgia. Then in Chechnya, it killed 200,000 people, and that happened during Yeltsin, and then Putin came, and it's like, yeah. So, totally, they should not, like, they are their own civilization, and they should not be using our Western civilization, meaning democratic civilization tools like YouTube, to be spreading their anti-human narratives, to be spreading their fake history that is a weapon.
Yaroslav, do we have one more time for one more question from Vuchko?
No, we have time for many more questions. I have time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I better go to sleep in maximum 10 minutes because tomorrow I will have to stream until 2, 3 a.m., something like that. So it's already 2 a.m. in Ukraine, and I'd better get some sleep tonight. But there's a question from Vuchko. He was asking Savage Sage, do you play the guitar much? I wanted to buy a Kozobas and join a Ukrainian folk band, but the reinvasion in 2022 prevented that. I was living in Pokrovsk. Our hometown is destroyed. Yeah, Vuchko is from Pokrovsk, and he wanted to buy a Kozobas. Do you know what Kozobas is?
No.
Maybe a brand, I don't know. Maybe he wanted to say Kobza. Maybe Kobza.
Maybe Kobza.
I don't know. Maybe it's an autocorrect. But do you play the guitar much?
I do. I love playing the guitar. I really don't see my life without playing the guitar. I don't know who doesn't play an instrument. How can you live your life? I mean, it's just such a great emotional, like, you know, when I feel sad, I just play the guitar and I feel better after that. I love playing the guitar, and just that, yeah. I recommend to everybody to, if you ever wanted to learn how to play guitar, just do it. Just it's gonna be a slow process, but
good therapy.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It's like, it's like a therapy. I think our emotions are vibrations, because I think that's what ultimately they are. They're frequency. And when the music matches the frequency, it's the physical phenomena called resonance. Your emotions inside become deeper. You can feel through them better. And this is what emotions are supposed to be. They're supposed to be felt. Just got to be with them, feel through them. And guitar music helps with them a lot.
Yeah, that's really cool how it works.
The music live stream sounds good. Yeah. Currently, my string has snapped, I would have played something, but the one string snapped. Unfortunately, gotta fix it. Yeah.
People are already waiting for the music stream and saying that it would be awesome to have one with you.
Yeah.
I totally
that'd be
agree. Let's do it someday on your channel, would be cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do it without me also.
Yeah,
I think people would love it.
Yara, thank you for joining and helping me with the stream. Appreciate it. There were some technical difficulties, but it's not a big deal as it seems as I thought it would be. I was like freaking out.
You see, I'm also an open person, and I will say it here, guys. I also, as always, fucked up, and I was late. We agreed to connect and prepare the stream 10 minutes before the beginning, and I was there only like 2 minutes before, so 8 minutes late. And I don't know if I told you, Yaroslav, we call it Rick's time. Unfortunately, you've become a victim of Rick's time.
All right.
I'm not late. I'm on Rick's time.
Good to know.
So I'm really sorry. It's not an excuse for me. This is why I'm sorry. And it's just I know that when you're a streamer, and I see it on many channels, punctuality is a good thing, but people are okay if you are 5-10 minutes late. Of course, not like me, half an hour late sometimes. No, you should not be fine with that, guys. But I'm sure that you will forgive Yaroslav and me for 5-10 minutes being late, because especially when you have guests, and you go with guests right away, you need to prepare for that. So I apologized before Yaroslav. Now I apologize before you guys that we went later. And if I wasn't late, I don't think Yaroslav would be that stressed, and he would start and stop the previous stream, and we would have to change the link. So I think it's my fault, but it still worked out pretty well. It was a great stream, and we had people discovering the new link, so it's not a problem. So apologize for that, but anyway, we had a great time here and great discussions, and thank you for your questions and activity in the chat. I was reading most of the messages, so I know what you were talking about. I just couldn't react to all of it. So guys, I have an idea. Yaroslav, since it's your first stream and maybe you just want to chill more than just being with me, and just read the chat and reply some questions. When I'm gonna be already out, I can just go to bed, and you can continue the stream without me and finish it later. What do you think?
I think I'll finish it. Same with you. There seems to be no questions, so maybe people have another ideas for the next stream, like the music stream. Sounds interesting. Maybe there would be a delay, but I dig I love the open atmosphere of the stream, and people. It's nice.
Yeah. This is the way, you just be honest and open, and sometimes even some problems and issues, they can be really easily overcome because we're being open about it. And there's a magic in truth and transparency. I discovered it with my rollers like 2 years ago, and now I'm constantly using it. So thank you guys for really embracing that way together with me, and having this rollers magic, we call it, when honesty just makes everything so fucking great. Thank you for that. And I'm really happy to meet the people from your community. Really nice people. I see what they're writing there in the chat, how passionate they are in their defense of Ukraine, I would say. And defending our truth and fighting the Moscovian lies. Thank you guys for that. Thank you for being on the stream. It was a great time and experience. Thank you, Yaroslav, for this idea. I was really happy to help with it and be a part of it. So let's do more. and let's all report the Moscow mapper.
Yes, they should not be using democratic tools to spread propaganda. They can live in their own country the way they want, but they shouldn't come to us with their fake lies. Yeah.
Everyone subscribe to Savage Sage. If you are not subscribed to my channel, also subscribe to mine.
Yes, subscribe to Rick's channel.
Thank you. And you like this stream, and put a comment under the stream. By the way, I don't know if you know that, Yaroslav, but you cannot comment during the stream, like really, like under the video. You can do it only when the stream ends. So guys, don't forget to give your impression about the stream after the stream, because hanging out in the chat is cool, but giving your feedback is also pretty interesting and important, at least for me. I go and read and I see, maybe I did something wrong at some point. If someone is being brave to criticize, it's really cool. Please be brave to criticize, because then we can improve as creators. And yes, Rick should introduce Yaroslav to Starsky. I should definitely do that.
Oh yeah, I've spoken to Starsky before, and Aziza as well. I saw her music.
So you do you like her music?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We can chat about maybe collaborating or something after I fix the stream.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So, Lettercat, you see, Yaroslav already knows Andriy Starsky. So, yeah, she says, yay! Yeah, no need for introduction. Become a member on Savage Sage. Affordable and 100% worth it. Andres says in the chat. Yeah, totally.
Thank you guys.
I think Andres is also the member on your maybe Patreon. I don't know, but he's a fan. He's a fan, and the other moderator, Dana Kiev, is a big fan of yours. She was really waiting for this stream, and she was working as moderator here today. So thank you, Dana. Thank you, Andres.
Thank you.
And just Jimmy. I don't know if you're a fan of Yaroslav. I know you're a fan of one Yaroslav, but what about the second one? That's the third moderator we had today. And all of them volunteered to be moderators here today. So I really hope, and I know that in the future they will moderate more of your streams because they are fans, and they will definitely become your friends, because they are becoming part of your team when they're moderating for you. And in the future you will see, you will feel more connection with them, and you'll feel like they're your team members, so yeah. Okay, Jimmy is here. Jimmy is writing still. He didn't tell us. But Jimmy is not just awesome Jimmy, in my opinion. Andres said, yeah, he's not just Jimmy. He's the Jimmy, Okay, you see, Yaroslav, I can talk to the chat non-stop.
That's nice.
And you definitely need to also talk to the chat and read some messages. By the way, if you need this advice, from a streamer with experience, would you like an advice from me?
Yes, I'll take advice with both hands.
It's important to read the messages out loud, because it helps for the people to understand to what you're replying. Because sometimes I notice that I come to Aziza's stream, and sometimes she doesn't read the message out loud, and I wonder, is she replying to me or to someone else, and what she's replying to? So I ask her, Aziza, please read it out loud. So lately she started reading out loud more, yeah, so that's the advice. Read them out loud and respond to as many of them as possible, because the audience is watching live and wants to be engaged. And the more we engage with the audience, with our amazing viewers and these great people.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, the more like involved they will feel, and the magic of streaming is about being involved. You really feel like you're having, and you're not feeling, you're having the conversation with the person on the other side of the screen. It's not the same as the comments under the video. Yes, that person may reply, but it's not like in real time. It's like you're having a phone call with that person. It's really cool. So that's enough of me, talking nonstop, because it's 2 a.m. and I need to go to sleep. So thank you very much, everyone who has been today, who donated, who supported also Yaroslav with some gifted memberships. And if you want to support him more, or more of you can buy gifted memberships here on YouTube. That's a part of the streamer's income. I was buying 5, by the way, today myself, Yaroslav. So here's, what's that, by the way? Do you know the price of one gifted memberships on your channel?
I'm not really aware of that. I gotta set it up. I think I made my membership on YouTube $1. And Patreon is $5.
Okay, yeah. So on YouTube, I think I've thrown $5 at you, but you will receive only 70% of it, and then you will pay some taxes. So it's not even what, $3, I guess, something like that. But anyway, yeah, Nikki said $5. And Nikki also did that. Yeah, she bought. By the way, there in the chat at the top of it, you can switch between top chat, live chat, and fan funding, and see the list of all the fan funding. So can you check it there in YouTube chat? So you will also use this tool, the streamer tool. Yeah, you see, guys, I'm finding more stuff to share. Yaroslav, can you check the chat on YouTube?
On YouTube?
Yeah. So on YouTube at the top of the chat, do you see top chat or live chat? Something like that?
I see top messages.
Top messages. Can you press it and choose fan funding?
Doesn't seem like I can.
Interesting. So you're doing it on the tablet, right?
Chat filter. I see
chat
all
filter.
messages. Okay, I got you.
All messages,
Right
and
there.
there is fan funding. Do you see the fan
I got
funding?
it.
Yeah, so you see Nikki Hill also bought herself a membership. She became a savage.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, I like that. Nice.
Yeah, so that's how it works. And always, another tip, always stream, not stream, but switch to live chat from top chat. From top messages to live messages. Yeah, that's cool. Because top chat is kind of filtering the messages, deleting some of them for some reason, I don't know, and you cannot see all the chat. So live chat is better than top chat.
Yes.
Okay, I shut up. Yaroslav, what do you say before finishing the stream? I already said my thank you and goodbyes. Love you guys all, and live long and prosper, as I say. And giving the mic to Yaroslav.
Yeah, just same. I just want to thank everybody. Thank you for moderators. Donna, I caught you deleting one message of some kind of troll. Thank you for, what do you call it? Vigilance? Or not vigilance. But yeah, and thank you for everybody who looked, streamed, joined. And with your support and with the Yaroslav support, I was able to watch that dumpster information. I would not be able to watch it by myself. It was just so cringe, disgusting to watch. But when I was in the community, it was easy to watch it. So I appreciate it, and I think we did some counter propaganda today, which is important. If you look at Moscow Mapper comments, anyway, yeah. Thank you all. Good night. And I hope this is not my. I hope to be making more streams. So.
Yeah, this is definitely not your last. You will get addicted to this, believe me.
Yes. All right. So.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
And Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.